I love big titties.
What's up? Hey now, everybody. How's it going? It's Nick.
Hey now. Go ahead.
Doctor, I love big titties is in the house. You know, I almost tried to put together a new Terrifier intro, like just for this episode, and I didn't have like any time at work. And then right after work, picked my kid up, came here, so I was like, I just didn't have the time. Yeah, you know,
Was Terrifier 2 years ago?
I kept having the same brain fart. I believe so. Yeah,
That's fucking crazy. So we had Terrifier 2 and Halloween Ends. Was that the same year?
Yes.
You remember what I kept saying when that was going on? I was like, enjoy the ride. It's everybody that's bitching, pissing, and moaning about these movies. Oh, you're going to miss that time, and it's going to be over. And you're going to say, I mean, you know what? Maybe instead of just pissing and moaning and bitching and whining, why don't I just kind of like, I don't know, just like enjoy it a little bit, just a little bit. Look, it's all gone now. That time was gone. 2022 was like a great year for Halloween. There's a lot of shit going. This year's hasn't feel like it hasn't been bad, but I feel like it's been okay.
Yeah, I got divorced in 2022. You know, it was a great year. No, I'm not even being sarcastic. I'm not even being sarcastic.
I missed that time. This year hasn't been bad, but I feel like it's not the best year for Halloween.
It's better than last year. Better than last year.
I loved last year. The vibe of last year just felt better to me. I'm not even talking about movies. I'm just talking about the vibe. This year, I don't know. I also burn myself out very badly usually. So by the time October comes around, I'm just like, please, God, let's get Halloween over with so all the normal people will not care about Halloween anymore, and then I can feel cool again.
Yeah.
I have those moments.
Speaking of that, it was funny, guys. I texted Christian the other day, you know, this whole like, bro, oh my God. And he's like, what? And I was like, Spirit Halloween is doing like a Christmas store. And he was like, what the fuck, man? I thought you were about to drop a bomb.
I did.
How you feeling about that? I like that idea. I do.
Well, I mean, if it's going to be like Spirit Halloween on the merchandise side, it could be really cool because we could be getting a lot of Clark Griswold stuff, which would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Krampus stuff. I would imagine they would still have some kind of spooky Halloween. Horror stuff at a Spirit of Christmas, like Krampus and stuff like that. But you know, I can already see the fun Home Alone props, the paint buckets, and you know whatever they may do. I wish they would just roll it out. But let me ask you this: would you imagine the way they would do that? Let's say it's successful this year, whatever they do. I'm assuming it will be. And I'm assuming they'll have a website that they have stuff that they can sell on there. I'm assuming. But do you think if this becomes a nationwide rollout in, let's say, 2 years, conservatively, do you think that these stores, they would keep the lease on the buildings that they have and just transition over like a week's period of time? Like shut down for a week, get all the shit out, maybe a little bit longer than a week. I guess it's hard to say, but, you know, transition over a week's and a half, 2 weeks time and have the stores opened up by the middle of November and just keep the leases for the building and just literally transform the stores?
So I talked to Steve about it because I kind of thought I was wondering the same thing. And one, like I told you, and I did do a video on it, and basically it was just like, this year's a very small rollout. It's like a trial run. It's going to be anywhere from like 10 to 20 stores, and it's all on the East Coast. And if it does well, you'll continue to expand year after year. But in my video, I said this would be really good for the economy and good for the workers. Hear me out. Hear me out. No, listen. Stop laughing. Hear me out. This goes to your point, Christian. This I'm saying this because of what you asked. Yes, they'd be keeping from talking to Steve. They'd be keeping the lease on those buildings. Ideally, all of them. The one, or at least the ones that they're going to turn into the Christmas ones, because I don't know how many spirits you've been to in your day that are different. Like some are much smaller and they're just like a little bit of decor and mostly costumes, and they don't have animatronics and stuff like that. And
Right.
So those ones probably wouldn't transition. But yeah, they'd be keeping the leases. You'd take you do your half off sale for like 2 or 3 days after Halloween, and then you close the doors, and then presumably you do a 2-week, tear everything down, build back up, reopen right around Thanksgiving for a month and a half or whatever. And what I meant, my larger point though, like,
I'm sorry.
it gives these people a job for an extra 2 months,
Right.
which is great for these people and anybody that works at Spirit. I worked there for years. I can tell you the biggest bummer in the world is when it's time to close and you're like, shit. Now you could start there. If you're like a DM or a store manager, you start in like July and you'd be working, and then with your bonus after the Christmas season, you'd be paid up until damn near February with your bonus on top. So that's like 6 months out of the year now instead of like 4. So that's really cool. And also it bring in a shitload of money. I mean, everybody talks about Halloween as like, oh, it's a big money holiday, and it is, but like there's no holiday bigger
Nothing
than
like Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is the idea. That is the idea, is to do that, keep the leases for the ones that they're going to roll into Christmas with.
I'll tell you this. I'm sure somebody listening to this lives in this area. There's a place in Michigan when I would visit family up there that there's this huge store. It's like a legendary store. It's an all year round mansion sized, almost like mall sized Christmas store. Literally, it takes all day to go through it. There's a Halloween sections in there and stuff like that, but it's a year round Christmas store. It's insane. I'd have to look up the name of it, but my point is, if that place can sustain itself, I'm sure that Spirit of Christmas would do very well.
Well, you also have to think too. I said this in the video that I did. A lot of people don't know that Spirit tried this like 20 years ago.
Bronner's Christmas Store is the name of the place, by the way.
Okay. Yeah, Spirit tried this like 20 years ago, but it was when it was Spencer's, because Spencer's is the parent company that owns Spirit Halloween, and they called it Spencer's Workshop, Christmas Workshop. And it was literally just like, they tried, it was for like a year or two, I can't even remember, around Christmas time, they tried these pop-up stores that sold a bunch of toys and stuff like that for Christmas.
Yeah.
And it crashed and burned. And it crashed and burned because they didn't have the name recognition yet. Nobody knew who they were. And on top of that, I mean, it was just a toy store, basically. Why did you see all these toy stores go out of business, over the last couple of years? One, obviously, because of online ordering, but also it's really hard to operate a place like that due to the theft, the damages that you incur all the time with just these cheap toys, break-in, shit like that. You got kids in there acting a fool, and that's basically what it was. And they were like, well, this sucks, so we're done. And they've been talking for years. Steve had told me they've been throwing the idea around for years about like bringing it back, but doing it differently. And from what I talked to him about, he basically said that it's probably going to be a lot like a Spirit. Like, you're going to have animatronics that are like Christmas themed. You're going to have decorations, but you're also going to be able to get gifts there, toys, and they're even going to do like photo ops with Santa and shit. So, I mean, they're really going all out. So if any of you guys live on the East Coast, go out this year. Go to one.
Do you think that it's weird for adults without kids to go take pictures with Santa?
Insanely. Yes. So
okay, weird. Just making sure. Like, do you think Disney adults are weird?
I'm not touching that. I'm not fucking touching that. I'm not touching that.
If I can say that
you do what makes you happy.
Well, hold on. No. If I can admit that, yeah, I if I can admit that, like as I'm filming this, I have a wall of horror movies right there. Granted, I have other walls of movies in the house that are, Stallone films or Chevy Chase movies, that sort of thing. But if I can admit that, yeah, this isn't exactly normal, then I can admit maybe it is a little weird to be a Disney adult. Now, if you tell me, Christian, we're watching Heavyweights, or Christian, we're watching Mighty Ducks 2, fuck yeah. But what are you gonna go? You're 36. You're gonna go to Disney World and take a picture of that goddamn duck? I mean, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I would just answer with that honestly.
Right,
And
dude,
be
plead
like,
the fifth, dude. Plead the fifth. They're
no,
gonna go
no,
after
I
you. They're not
no,
gonna go after me. They're gonna go after you.
no,
They're gonna
no,
say, "Why you
because
dodging, brother?"
no. I was just about to say, based off of what you just said, yeah, those same people could say that we're weird for the horror shit we have.
And
So
I think I am weird,
yeah, but
but horror is cooler than Disney.
exactly, I think it's the subject matter, but also to each their own. Like if you are a Disney adult, that's cool and everything, but I will agree with Christian. Don't go there at 40 years old and take a picture with fucking Mickey Mouse.
I said
Like,
36. He said 40.
okay,
So.
but like, if you got your kids, it's one thing. But if you're just going there and you're like, dude, Mickey, huge fan, can I get your autograph? Like, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Oh, Jesus.
We just got canceled by all our Disney adult listeners. They hate us.
Oh, wah. Wah. No, it's all good though. I mean, Disney does some good stuff, kind of. They did well, they own 20th Century Fox.
Yeah.
So
Is Ripley a Disney princess?
Ripley is just fucking awesome. I think before too long, mark my words, Sigourney's gonna come back.
So do I. Yeah.
She said she's open to it, but she basically said what any sane person would say: if the script is really good.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Here's the thing. I'm just gonna say this right now. If you're a fan of Avatar, God bless you. If you want 4 more, you're a jackass. And number 2, for all the people out there that are saying, God damn it, like James Cameron's like 70. So basically the rest of his life, however long he lives, is going to be Avatar movies. There's one way to make him not do that. You ready, people? Don't pay to go see it at the theater. It has to tank. The only way this will not continue is if it tanks. I got news for you, Nick. Ain't going to be a Joker 3. It ain't happening. You know why? Because it had an 83% drop off in the theater.
Well, you haven't seen it yet. That's not why.
Sucker is like the Tower of Terror. Yeah, I mean, money talks. I mean,
I know, but there was never going to be a 3. I'll just say that. It was it's very evident. That is entirely why he's goading me, guys. He's goading me because he knows I liked the movie. But it tanked for sure. But Todd Phillips didn't even want to do a sequel, and Warner Brothers wouldn't leave him alone because the first one made so much money, and he was like, he's like, the only way I'm coming back is if you let me do whatever I want. And they were like, okay. So he got really weird with it.
I mean, is the movie gonna make money? How much did it cost?
No, it cost $200 million, and what? They said
$200 million. Dude, this is what's killing Hollywood.
I know, but you got to think Joker made like 1.1 billion.
How much did the first one cost?
70 million.
Yeah, well, why not just spend the same money again?
Because it was Todd Phillips. Todd Phillips said, "I made you over $1 billion.
You're gonna pay me?
You're gonna give me whatever I want to make. You want me to come back for a sequel so bad? Okay, you just let me have carte blanche, basically, to do whatever I want." So they gave him a big ass budget, right. And I mean, the movies, it looks incredible. Like it's super professionally well done. Like you could see the money on screen. Yeah, but it got really weird, and I mean, I dug it. But I know a lot of people didn't. So
at the end of the day, Nick, I'm gonna tell you why you're wrong though, and those people are right. The movie may be fun. You told me I might like it, but the customer's always right, brother, and that's not what the people wanted. So consider it dead. It's done. It's over.
No, I just want to drop a spoiler about it, but I can't. So I'm just
Look,
gonna.
listen, nobody's going to see it. Say whatever you want. I'll
He
take
di-
the
He
listen.
dies. He dies
Okay,
at the end.
whose idea was that? Joaquin's or was it
It
the
was both of
director's?
theirs. It was both of theirs. It was Todd Phillips' way of saying, one, it was him being like, you can't get me to come back for a third one, no matter what. Even if this movie makes $1 billion, not gonna happen. He's dead. So, yeah, he dies.
Is it a musical?
I wouldn't call
Well,
it that. There are
w-
music numbers for sure, but it ain't like Grease, where all of a sudden everybody in the real world breaks out into song and dance. Like the musical numbers in this movie, 99% of them are in their fucking heads. Not even real. They're just
okay.
imagining it because they're fucking crazy.
Well, let
So
me ask you this. Let me ask you this. We're YouTube's. We got past the 2-minute mark. YouTube's not listening anymore. Somebody super chatted me the other day about this movie. I think it might have been a joke. It was a $2 super chat, so they could have been trolling me. Although I do appreciate the $2. Somebody super chatted me that Joker takes it up the butt in Folie Deux.
oh my God.
Is that true? Does he take it up the ass in Joker 2? If he takes
So
up the ass and you say, Christian, you're gonna love this movie, I'm going to be pissed.
let me tell you guys something. If that's your thing, more power to you.
Does
No
he take
shame.
it up the ass?
We don't kink shame here.
You're taking too long. Does he take it up the ass in this
No,
movie?
no. The one thing this person is probably referencing is there's a scene where his trial is televised, and one day in trial, he's talking shit about the guards at Arkham. He's calling them a
Okay.
bunch of fat like losers, basically. Well, after his
Mhm.
that day of trial's over, he goes back to Arkham, and the guards are fucking pissed because he just badmouthed them on national TV.
Right.
So they like beat his ass in the showers and like strip him naked. Um, and then, but that's it. You don't see what happened. You don't know if it's just like they're beating his ass and humiliating him because
Is
that's
he
it.
making noises like, oh?
No, Christian. I mean, they're like physically like assaulting
They're
him, and then
assaulting
they
him.
like throw him on the ground and shit. But like then the scene's over. Now people have read into that like, oh, what happened after the camera cut was that they did this, but they didn't say that or show that, or it could have happened. It could have happened,
Whoa,
but
whoa, 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 whoa.
he could have gotten
Now it
assaulted by
could
the guards. Yeah, but the way the person worded that was clearly just trying to troll because um we don't know. They don't even imply it. So I don't know. You just see him getting humiliated and getting his ass beat by
let
uh
the record
guards.
show, let the record state we went from no, no, no to it could have happened. Let the record show.
No, I'm going to be fair here. I'm sorry. When you ask the question, does he get it up the butt in the movie? That makes it sound like he had sex with a man. Whereas what could it, if you stretch your brain, he could have been physically
Why you
assaulted
gotta
against
say
his
it like that? Why
will.
you gotta say it like that?
Because the way you asked the question, the way the
No.
original commenter asked it was so disingenuous. Like,
Oh my god.
I don't know.
See,
So,
I'm
but
gonna watch
no.
this movie because I'm gonna watch this movie because I'm gonna watch. I'm just gonna say I'm gonna watch it whenever it streams. I'm gonna watch it. I don't think I'm gonna buy it, but I am. When movies do this, dude, when it literally in the most ununited era in American history, when for the most part a movie can unite people like this, like so many people are just like, no, I don't like it. I can't wait to watch it. That's the truth. So I'm gonna watch it, dude, and I won't lie if I like it. I swear to God, I will not lie.
Well,
But
you know
I
why
want more
everybody
movies. I
you
want
know
more
why
movies
everybody
like
hates it,
this.
right? Why the overlying reason why it's not the musical aspect. Everybody is
Right.
shitting on the movie for one reason and one reason only because
Go for it.
Todd Phillips makes it very clear in this movie he's not the Joker. He never was the Joker. He's just a mentally ill individual that tried to create an alter ego to hide behind it to justify the fucked up things he'd done. He's not the Joker. He's just Arthur Fleck and he's insane.
So
And
wait up. Was Arthur Fleck the actual name of the Joker?
no,
Like
No,
in the
Arthur
comic
Fleck.
books?
No, no,
Because I'm
no.
ignorant. You have to excuse me.
No, so and that's why it's kind of frustrating because like I felt like it was clear from the first movie that he wasn't the Joker. The Joker is a fucking like mob boss, the clown prince of crime in Gotham. Like this dude was not
Yeah,
that.
like Jack Nicholson was.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like Joker is an ideal, and the people of Gotham saw him as like a symbol. But in this movie, they kind of unravel that and they go like, he's not a symbol though. Like you're just channeling your rage through one person because one person stood up against the establishment.
Right.
But quickly you come to realize he's just a dude, though. And like, that's the thing
What's
about
so bad about that? That sounds good to me.
because a lot of people are like, it's a Joker movie. So it should be about the Joker. I can't tell you how many comments I had on my review of people like, it's complete bullshit. Todd Phillips gave a big FU to the fans saying this isn't the Joker.
Man.
And yeah, a lot of people are mad about that. But then the other aspect is the musical that they're mad about. Yeah. But it's mostly the fact that you made a Joker movie and you said at the end, yeah, he's not really the Joker and we're going to kill him. And like, I liked that. Like, I don't know, but
right. No, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I guess the other thing I was wondering about the movie was how was Lady Gaga and did she get any flack for just being in it?
No, pretty much everybody agreed that she did really well. The only complaint that you got from her was that people said they wanted more of her. Looking back on the movie, and I've thought about seeing it a second time in theaters, but I was like, I'm not going to do that because it'll be on Max sooner than later. So I'll just wait till it comes home to stream.
Brother, maybe 2 weeks from now.
I know. So I'm like, I'll just wait. But no, a lot of people said that she didn't get enough time, and I just don't see that. It's not her movie. She's not the star. Joaquin is. So it's very much his movie. But as a supporting role, I think she gets plenty of time. But yeah, everybody said that she was good in the movie. Nobody said, "Oh my God, she's terrible." No, she's good in the movie. She's a good actress. I want to see her act more. I think I've liked her and everything she's done up to this point, which hasn't been a lot. I mean, I haven't seen House of Gucci. That's the only thing of hers that I haven't seen yet, but I heard it was bad. Yeah, I mean, she's good in it. I liked her a lot.
Well, that's good. I mean, I like her too. Every time I saw her in American Horror Story, she was good. I think I've seen her a couple times, if memory serves, at least once on the show. I know that.
Yeah, she was the lead of season 5. Did you see A Star Is Born ever with her and Bradley Cooper?
No, but I heard she gets naked in that.
Well, she gets naked in American Horror Story. So
let me tell you, she is Star Is Born.
Buddy, she is caked up. So,
did you see that controversy with that song she did like right when she came out called Poker Face, where she's actually saying poker face, fuck her face, but like all the radio stations were playing the song because they thought it was just saying poker face again because of the way those vocals in the chorus are. And she did an interview about it and she says only one radio station actually bleeped out my song, but I went to like Spotify the other day when I watched this interview with her. And I usually when you play a song, it'll show the lyrics, and sure enough, it is that. Yeah, saying "fuck her face." It's just like, dude, I remember that being on the radio every day.
Well, I'm not gonna say the word, but it reminds me of a controversial Black Eyed Peas song that got changed for the radio.
Let's get retarded, dude. You know what's funny? When I heard that. Well, I mean, it's their song. When I heard that on something, like it might have been like a video that was making fun of like wrestling botches or something that was playing. I thought that was a like a Weird Al style song. Not that Weird Al did it, but I thought somebody was doing a parody.
Like a parody, yeah.
But when I found out that no, Let's Get Retarded was the initial release of the song, I was like, what? I must have completely missed that because I just knew it as Let's Get It Started.
Not just you, dude. Still to this day. A couple weeks ago at work, I was talking about that. And some of my employees were like, nah. And I'm like, yes, that's what the song was. So anybody listening, don't get offended. That's the name of the song. Like it was pertinent to what we were talking about. But yeah, that's a real thing. If you guys didn't know that, if some of you listening right now didn't know that was like what the song actually was, that's what it was. Yeah.
So,
but yeah, no, she's really good in it. The thing about it too is playing into the idea of him not being the Joker. She only likes the Joker. There's a scene where they bang. I don't know even know if you'd call it that. It's like 20 seconds because he's a virgin. I mean, he pumps like 3 times and he's done. But before they do, she puts the makeup on him so he looks like the Joker before they do. And she like makes it very clear throughout the movie that she loves the Joker. He's a Joker. He's a Joker. And then there's a moment in the movie where he comes to the realization and he admits out loud, he's like, I'm not the Joker. I'm Arthur Fleck. Like, I was never the Joker. She walks out of the trial when he does that, and she's done with him because she only loved Joker. She didn't love Arthur. And so the themes of the movie, I mean, it's very clear to like anybody that watches it. But again, I think that was a problem for a lot of people because they thought it would be your more prototypical Joker movie, and it's just not like in any way.
I can understand that. I can understand that. Right or wrong, I can definitely understand that. Wow.
Yeah. So I loved it. You know, I've come across a lot of people that enjoyed it as well. I got a lot of negative comments, of course, but Christian, we're about to get into Terrifier 3, and this is going to be the bulk of this episode, guys.
Oh.
And to tee this off, Christian,
I want to talk about Joker 3 more.
Oh, yeah, Joker 3.
Joker 2, I mean. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Do you have other questions? Or?
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Okay.
But
okay.
I like talking about all this kinds of shit. I think people like it.
Well, the only reason I segued into this is because we're talking about negative comments and people's reactions to the movie and stuff. My Terrifier 3 review did really well. And, you know, most of the time, popular movie comes out, you do a review night of release. It's going to do some numbers. And almost every comment agreed with me about Terrifier 3. Very united. Everybody seems to really like this. But I got a couple comments. And I'm going to read you one of them.
Sure.
One person said, "How do you get Terrifier fans to leave you alone?" And then it said, and then he continued, "You pay for the pizza and they'll get off your porch." I guess insinuating that all Terrifier fans must be like pizza delivery boys, lowlifes, I guess, was their insinuation. I got another comment from someone that said, "Of course, a guy with wearing a backwards hat would like this movie." So there's one. And then I got another one that said trash movie. And then I said that's trash opinion. And then he said, whatever, soy boy. So yeah, I didn't get
this is a you problem. This isn't a Terrifier fan problem. Nick, I don't get this shit. I don't get this shit.
Christian,
I don't get it.
Christian, my review is well over 4,000 views, so it's gotten a lot of impressions. And if I had 100 comments, it's right around that. Only 3 of them were negative, and they don't know me.
I'm sorry, I thought you had a bunch. I was going to say nobody.
It was just those 3 out of 100, so 97%. But that makes sense based off of like your just math with the internet. If something blows up a decent amount, you're going to get the handful of people that have never seen your channel or you before that disagree coming in and going like, "You don't know what you're talking about. Terrifier fans are stupid. These movies are trash." So that's basically what it was. Okay. But yeah, it's interesting because
the comment about the baseball bat. I'm sorry, just the comment about like, of course a dude with the backwards caps.
Yeah. I don't even know what that means.
You have to laugh at that's like when people, because that's like, it's not mean, and it's like, I don't know what I'm getting at, but like shit like that just makes me laugh.
It made me laugh too. Like, it didn't hurt my feelings. I was just like, I don't know what this means. Like, I genuinely don't know what this insult is. So
I don't remember. Did you have like the kid from Recess baseball cap where it's got the buttons and you got the gap? And
no, I was wearing this. What I'm doing right now is exactly how I looked in my review.
All right.
You know, Christian, you know as well as I do. When you have a lot of hair, you wear hats a lot, and sometimes I don't know.
A lot, yeah.
I turn it around. I don't know. Like, I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but whatever. The point is, everybody seems in lockstep with this movie, but I did get some other comments. Some comments from people that were saying, "Hey, this movie is evil. It's blasphemous. They went too far." I got a couple comments like that, of people that were like this movie is like it's satanic, basically.
Right. Oh, I totally agree.
So yeah, Christian, why don't you now that I teed us up, why don't you tell us your experience with Terrifier 3?
The word for me, I need to put a ball cap on, reverse ball cap for this. No, the word
You
for
should do it.
the word for me is impressive, because this movie actually made me not like art, and that's a good thing. And I had people tell me they didn't see it my way, which is fine, but I saw the movie as being way more mean spirited than two. The scenes, the death scenes were so brutal, and I just felt for the guys. Like the Santa kill to me was just like the poor bastard. Um, and I liked it a lot because this is where it's kind of setting itself apart from Hatchet. Um, because anybody that denies that these movies clearly have a little bit of inspiration from Hatchet is lying, and that's not a bad thing. But what's separating the movie for me from this is the clear, like he made this movie that you don't see Lauren and the clown get together till the end of the movie, which is I was like, wow, they're actually not gonna have a bunch of scenes together. They're really gonna keep them separated till the end. And I thought Lauren Lavera was like, she was good in two, but she was really good in this movie, in my opinion. I think this is what people are if you don't connect with her as a character and you're not feeling her, people are definitely going to see this movie, in my opinion, as a one-trick pony, just an over-the-top parody of slasher films. But if you really like Lauren and you're digging her, then you're going to see this movie as more than that. And thankfully, I think she does a great enough job that I think that's what's really making people say, "Man, I'm excited to see what she does next in the next movie," or she doesn't quit. So I like that a lot. The fact that they really made this movie about her dealing with the PTSD of everything. I have questions. I definitely don't think that Elliot's dead now that I think about it. I think the brother. I don't think he's dead. I think they're messing with Lauren, or excuse me, Sienna. I think they're messing with her. But I liked it. It was impressive to me how I actually was like, it was so impressive how I actually was just kind of like disgusted by the movie. And but I do think that this is the movie where you're going to have a fraction of people actually say, this isn't for me. I'm done with this. It doesn't matter if the kills with those kids are on or off screen. And I know that this has been done before. I had a conversation with somebody about this. Like, well, Christian, they killed kids in it. I said, yeah, but it's the context. That's a mainstream movie made for all audiences. It's a MPAA rated movie. This is not a movie that is necessarily for all audiences, which also means that maybe those people aren't going to be watching it, but because these movies are doing so well and it's come across people's paths, they're going to see it as just so untasteful. I am actually kind of glad. I don't care what people say. I am kind of glad that the kill stuff with the kids was off screen. And I got word that Damien says, I'm not going to put kids' deaths on screen. Are you guys nuts? So I'm kind of happy about that, because I was kind of like, oh my God, this is going to happen. But when the kids in the beginning gets killed off screen, I did kind of say to myself, okay, I'm kind of glad. I didn't need to see that. And I'm glad that it was just off screen. But it's my favorite of the three because it was so fucking mean. And it was impressive how he made me actually fucking hate the clown. Like, I don't like Art. I don't like him, which is so impressive. Because everybody's obsessed with Art, and I am too, but I fucking hate him in three. So I'm gonna shut up because I feel like I'm rambling. But yeah, this is my favorite one so far. This was Art from one. This was Art from Terrifier, and I'm so sick of people shitting on Terrifier. What the fuck's the matter with you guys? That movie was like literally, that was just a cheap version of these movies. Like, what was so wrong about Terrifier? Can I ask? Like, seriously, there's so many people that like shitty ass, cheap ass slasher films from the 80s that cost 3 coffees and a pack of beans. Oh, it's the greatest fucking underground slasher movie of all time. That's exactly what Terrifier. It's a cheap, low budget slasher film. It's the same thing, but in today's world, it's a piece of shit. It's a piece of shit. Oh boy, it's Terrifier is garbage. Like really, really. I'm sorry. I'm gonna shut up, dude, because I'm just gonna go off one take.
No, you're good. To your question though, I don't know because I like Terrifier. It's probably
two is better. Yes, 2 is better. But I mean,
Yeah.
fuck. Give me a break.
I think it was, at least for me, why I have 2 and 3 noticeably higher, in my opinion, than the first one is really just having an actual final girl that you get to know a little bit and you follow, and it kind of helps you get invested more. I think shitting on Terrifier for not having that is weird. I personally wouldn't, go that route, but I think it just made these next 2 movies that much stronger because they did have it. Now, having said that, a lot of the points you made, I agree with, but I got to tell you, the moment for me in this movie that got the most reaction out of me in the theater was the bomb. I mean,
Wasn't that fucked up?
I laughed out loud. Like, I'm sitting in the theater, this kid opens a present, and there's an explosion, and I went, "Oh my God." And the funny thing was, a bunch of people in my theater laughed too, at that moment, because I don't think anybody saw that coming. Art with a bomb? We've never seen that.
And a gun, dude. You never see slashers use a fucking gun either.
Yeah. Dude, Art is a dick. But yeah, no, it's I don't know where I land with it yet. Somebody made a really good point on my review of it. And I think this is the best way to put it, in my opinion, is that someone said, I think I like Terrifier 2 more because it's more fun. It's an easier watch because 3 is so dark and somber and mean-spirited, but 3 is the better film. And like, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, and I'm like, that probably is the best way to put it. Like, honestly, because yes, I think 3 is technically the best of the 3. It's not even a contest. Like, best performances, best effects, all of it. But 2 is an easier watch because Art really is just having fun. Like, he's just having a great time, and we all love Art, and it's just this depraved, insane thing. And then in this one, and to Damien's credit, he said when they were making 3 that we're bringing this back more in tone with the first movie, and he wasn't lying. This is definitely Art from the first movie. So, yeah.
I didn't miss the little girl clown. Get her the fuck out of here. Thank God. It was cute and too, but I was like, I don't need her again. I much preferred the broad that got deformed from the first movie in this one, like as the sidekick. You know what my favorite scene was? I'll tell you what my favorite scene was. It was the scene where they and I have so many questions still, which I think is a good thing. The scene where the clown sits on the goddamn chair in front of the Amityville window, and the girl sits in that disgusting tub and cuts herself, and then you get the impression they were there for like a few weeks,
5 years,
5 years. Okay,
yeah.
Oh yeah, 5 years, and like what? I have so many questions about that. It's clear, like the
I
thing
have
about
the answers.
Okay, Damien, but like
I listened to Damien. That's why.
What did he explain this already?
Yes.
Oh God, see, I don't. Maybe I don't want to because I want to wait till I see the movie. But this guy is banking on these movies being hugely successful because of when the movie's done. This movie ended on a cliffhanger, clearly, and it's like he is banking on these being successful. And it's not a stupid thing to do, but it's just like they better do really well because clearly he's got another one in mind. I'm sure, probably more than that. But I'm already starting to see like, let's wrap it up in 4, everybody. Let's wrap it up. I'm like, really? Like you want to one, like you're not having fun still? Like, you just want one more? Like, I'll give me 2. You know, I'll take 5.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so here,
I can't wait till it's a different person being the clown, and then they die and we find out it wasn't really Art.
well, so I don't have the answer. He didn't give the answers on like why they just like, I don't know, powered down for 5 years, because that's pretty much what they did. But I actually learned this tonight listening to an interview with Damien after work when I was driving home. He explained, so the little pale girl from Terrifier 2 is a demon. She is a demon that operates between worlds, between dimensions, whatever, hell and the physical world. And she possessed Vicky at the end of Terrifier 2. So Vicky, the chick with the messed up face, is being inhabited by the pale girl demon. She was able to inhabit Vicky because Vicky basically had her will broken at the end of Terrifier when Art did what he did to her. And she was, as we see in any demonic possession movie, they beat you down and then they take you over. That's what was happening there. So she's in Terrifier 3. Vicky is the pale girl inside of the body of Vicky. And Art did die at the end of Terrifier 2. And the only reason he was able to be brought back was because the pale girl, through Vicky, rebirthed Arthur. And the reason for that being, she wants to, at the end of the day, they want Sienna. They want to corrupt her and take her over. That way Art can never be stopped. They can never be stopped. And they can do whatever they want for as long as they want. Art was a human killer in Terrifier. In the first Terrifier film, he was a human serial killer. Once he was brought back from the dead at the beginning of Terrifier 2, he was brought back through the means of that pale girl demon. So Art is now empowered by a demon, but he was a human serial killer until he was brought back.
That's right. Sienna talked about that in the movie.
Yeah. So Sienna is their foil. As long as she's alive and she has that sword, she can kill Art and she can basically stop all this. And I guess the goal at the end of the day, as with any demonic kind of possession thing, is like, we just want to wreak havoc. We want to, corrupt as many souls as possible. And we can't do that if this bitch is around. So we have to get rid of her because she is the person that can stop us. And that is why the entire idea was, let's kill everyone close to her, or lie, because I agree. I don't think Jonathan's dead either. They would not have not shown that on screen. There's no way. And hopefully we can beat her down so much, the pale girl can just take over Sienna. And then it's a win-win. Not only do you have to not worry about Sienna anymore, but you get to inhabit her body. And so it's like, that's, and also another reason why people say that Terrifier 4 is let's wrap it up. That's because Damien has said that. In pretty much every interview, he has said that he had this mapped out for 4 movies. And he's been asked about it since this came out. And he's like, yeah, I've had an outline of where this was going to go and where it was going to end. And David Howard Thornton knows too, how it ends. And they believe it's 4. But he's also said, but I don't know. We'll see. After how well this movie is doing, just in its opening weekend, do not be shocked if he stretches it into 2 more. And even when Damien is done, Terrifier is now going to be a bona fide franchise. So after a couple years, a new director will probably come in and make another Terrifier movie. And so, yeah. So you're getting the pale girl again, Christian. Damien said that in an interview. He said she will be back.
That's fine. Here's what I want to happen. So I'm going to bring this back to Hatchet. I love Terrifier. I do not think Terrifier is not successful because of any other reason than the creation that Damien made, blah, 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 blah. It stands on its own 2 feet, a billion %. This is in no way a slight to Terrifier whatsoever. None, zilch, zip, nada. I want to make sure people understand that. But because I am from the Hatchet generation, I need 2 things to happen, Nick. And I swear to God, this would be the greatest movie of all time. I need two things to happen. I need Adam Green to get off, quite frankly, just get off of his ass. I don't know what he's doing. He needs to make one more Hatchet movie. One more Hatchet movie. Because the market, I didn't know this. Hatchet 2 in 2010 went to AMC theaters. Was going to be, I think that could have been a huge thing. About a day after it was released, it instantly got pulled. Then Adam went to court to try to fight it, and he lost. He tried to battle. It was like not really court, but like he had like a thing where he could talk to whatever. He talked about it in an interview. And then the movie just went straight to DVD after that. I wonder a few things. Number one, what if that movie did stay in theaters? Would it have made a difference? Or do you just think the timing is right for a Terrifier over-the-top gore slasher film right now? And the timing's just perfect. But anyway, my point is this. I think the market can handle another type of movie like this, like a Hatchet film. We can reintroduce Victor Crowley, make this explosive over-the-top movie with Kane Hodder again as Victor Crowley. Adam comes back. Nick, I'm telling you, we can make history. I say we. History can be made if we can bring back Victor Crowley in a big way. Art the Clown versus Victor in a fight movie. It would be fucking
I got a comment
insane.
like that on my review. Somebody commented that.
Insane. It would be fucking crazy. They both have interesting stories. Obviously, we're still learning and seeing what happens with Art. But Victor Crowley is also, I mean, he had his head exploded in 2, and he came back after that. It's like, this could be so cool in my head. These two, they're really I say they're kind of equal. Art obviously is not above using extreme weapons like nitrogen, guns and actual guns. And Victor is a over-the-top brute monster beast. Like, I don't know how you can make it work, but dude, in my head, this is perfect. I think Shudder could do something with, I think they kind of have the rights to Hatchet, but maybe not. I don't know. I really don't know. I know that they've played Hatchet movies on Joe Bob's show. And Screambox, Bloody Disgusting, I guess Bloody Disgusting, it produces or has some involvement with Terrifier. I don't know if it would ever happen, man, but I guess just the millennial in me and being of the Hatchet crew, that's my era. I want to see Victor come back, because there's a part of me that just feels that Adam never really. I feel like Adam deserves this too. Has nothing to do with anything Damien's doing. Like, he doesn't. Damien deserves it. It's his creation. He's doing great. But there's always a part of me that just feels like Adam never truly got his moment the way Damien is, and it breaks me. It really breaks me, because I want that so bad for Adam. I really
do. To your question though about that, like what you started with, where you were like, I wonder if was it not the right time for the Hatchet movies and stuff like that, especially going to theaters and whatnot. I think the answer to that question is yes. I don't think it was the right time at the time. You remember the late 2000s, early 2010s. That was one of the safest eras in horror that I can remember. It was all remakes. I mean, that was remake palooza.
Yeah.
You weren't seeing a ton of original ideas that were pushing the boundaries. You were seeing sequels. I mean, that was in the height of Saw, Paranormal Activity. That was the birth, right around the birth of the Conjuring universe, Insidious, and the remake craze.
Right.
So it was all about established IP. And let's call a spade a spade. I love some of those movies, but established IP that relatively play it safe too. I don't think that Hatchet or Terrifier, for that matter, 10 years ago would be what it is. No, I just don't think it was the right time. And I don't even know if it's that people wouldn't have accepted it. I think people wouldn't have gone and seen it. I just think people would have been like, what the fuck is this? Like, no, thanks. I want, come on, I want Paranormal Activity 9. Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
So I don't think it was the right time. So hopefully he sees this moment. But, to that point, Christian, it also makes me go, you know what else I hope comes back in the middle of this renaissance? Hostel. Like, people seem right now like they're ravenous for this shit. Like, Terrifier 3, guys, put this in perspective. It's about to make double what Terrifier 2 did in its
Really?
opening weekend.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
It's opening
God
at
damn.
number 1. It's projected to make $20 to $25 million this weekend.
Jesus Christ.
People have to understand, we went from a $35,000 budgeted, straight to streaming, low budget indie horror movie to now a movie that's going up against stiff competition. Let's call a spade a spade. There's big releases out right now. It's an unrated movie. It's only playing in 2,000 theaters because it's unrated. Joker got 4,000 theaters. Dune comes out. It gets 4,000 theaters. These big releases get 4,000 theaters. This got 2,000 because it's unrated. And it's about to make twice what Terrifier 2 did in its entire run, just in its opening weekend alone.
Jesus.
Yeah. People want this shit. Like, Terrifier 2, you and I know. You and I, we've talked about it on this podcast before. We knew in that moment when we were in the theater with Terrifier 2, we knew in that moment what we were seeing. You just felt it. You were like, this is going to be something. Like, this is going to be something. You could feel it. You could see the reactions online, the videos people were making about it, the business it was doing relative to its budget. Like, you knew you were living through something. And now 2 years later, you have proof of that because Terrifier 3 it's a massive mainstream hit. If you would have told Damian Leone that 7 years ago, he would have been like, dude, come on, you're high. Like, I'd love for that to happen, but it's not going to happen. It's just that it's not in the cards for me. Well, we're here. And Terrifier 2 was that moment for a lot of people, I think, when they realized, like, are we witnessing another, like, Halloween or Nightmare or Friday franchise being born, like, right before our eyes? Yes, we are. We are in that moment. Like,
I think
cool.
I think I agree. I think I do agree with that. People were saying stuff like, "Oh, this is the Dream Warriors moment," and there's a part of me, and it has nothing to do with liking Elm Street so much. There's a part of me that was like, well, is it? Because Dream Warriors was an independent movie that obliterated everything at the box office at the time. And that was when New Line was truly an independent studio. And the reality is Terrifier 3 seems to kind of be doing the same. So maybe it is kind of like the Dream Warriors in essence of what it's doing in the movie theater, you know?
I mean, bro, the distributor for Terrifier 3, it's a huge distributor. Everybody knows about them, right? Cineverse. No, I'm being sarcastic. You have no idea who they are. Like, if you have this, no, it's still an independent horror film. Like,
right.
And here it is, man. Here it is. Like, it is incredible to see. Like, it's so cool. It's so cool. And, like, if we're doing apples to apples comparison, when I made the comment, like, oh, are we living through the birth of, like, another Freddy and Michael or Jason? And it's like, people will go, well, no, because they're totally different. You know, this is like an unrated, super over the top, offensive. Like, yeah, it's not apples to apples. I mean, we are witnessing the birth of a horror franchise. Like, it's Terrifier. By the time I die, there will probably be 10 movies, probably, if not more.
I was gonna say, dude. I mean, well, 10 is a lot of movies, I guess. I was gonna say the rate they're
by
coming
the time
out.
we die, you got to think
It'll be
about
rebooted by the time we die.
Yeah, but in my lifetime, there have been 6 Curse, H2O, Resurrection, Rob's 2, Blumhouse trilogy. Just in my 29 years of life, 8 Halloween movies have come out.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, this is another franchise, man. I mean, I know you have issue with this. We've talked about this before, where you really, really don't like when people throw around the word icon because you feel like that takes a while to earn. And, people say that about stuff all the time. We talked about it 2 years ago when we covered Saw. And we went back and forth about it. And we didn't not arguing, but we were talking about it. We were parsing it out. And you're like, yeah, I think Jigsaw is an icon. And I don't throw that word around.
Here's my thing about who is an icon. I think there is a blueprint. By the way, I sent you the thumbnail for this, and I gotta say, it looks pretty goddamn good.
Oh, yeah.
You like that?
Controversy creates cash, brother.
So anyway, that's what I was doing.
It's funny too because my brother, he Venmo'd me money the other day because I had an issue with my paycheck. Just real quick, not to get off topic.
Oh please, I love this kind of stuff.
He texted me this morning. He's like, "Hey, did you Venmo me that back yet?" Because I had forgotten, and I just sent him the picture from Art from Terrifier 3 of just shushing the little kid, smiling. But yeah.
So I think, and I'd have to really sit down and parse this out on paper. I think there's a blueprint with a number of things with a box next to it, and I think there should be an X amount of number out of the total boxes that need to have a check to be considered a horror icon. But here's the one that I think is truly the most important box, in my opinion. For me, the most important box is, when you look at a certain era of time, were you the dominant force of that era? Were you the pop culture phenomenon of that time? And I'm not talking about a year, 2 years. I'm talking about a span of time. 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Let's look at the list. Friday the 13th, clearly, with the exception of 2 years in the 80s, there was a Friday movie that came out in the theater and was successful every year. Same thing with Elm Street. From 84 till shorter time span, but from 84 until 91, extremely successful movies, box office wise. Please, Christian 5 sucks. Same thing with Halloween, but kind of different, but really not really, right? The fact is, people went ape shit when he came back. But my point is, I think the most important one is, were you the pop culture sensation of the genre for a period of time? So same thing could be said for Paranormal Activity. Same thing could be said for Saw. Clearly Saw. I mean, Jesus Christ. For the longest time, it was,
if it's Halloween, it must be Saw.
It must be Saw. Liking the movies is a different thing. I think there's sometimes people have a hard time separating, well, I only like one Saw film, so no, I wouldn't say he's an icon. Like, come on. Like, can you, what world are you living in where your opinion is the only one that matters? I got news for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
yes.
My thing is, I think for the next 5 or 6 years, art is absolutely going to dominate pop culture and completely dominate the space of horror. So do I think he's going to become one? Yes. If somebody wants to call him one already, God bless you for it. But I think the most important box is going to be checked, that art is going to dominate the 2020s. Dominate. So that's the other one. Another one, in my opinion, that's a big important one was, do you go the distance? Again, people can shit on sequels for Elm Street or Friday the 13th, or not really Friday, because a lot of people's favorite ones are the higher ones. But my point is, even with Halloween fans, it kills me. People that love Halloween. I like 1, I like 2, 3 doesn't have Michael Myers, 4 is good, 5 sucks, 6 sucks, H20 sucks, Rob Zombie sucks, 20 team was good, Kills was all right, and sucks. They like 4 out of them. Like, they like 4 out of 12.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm gonna get
best horror franchise ever.
They hate, but they like 3 of them. But my point is, my point is, I think to be an icon, you have to go the distance and you have to show a number of films. There are exceptions. There are exceptions to the rule. I think Hannibal Lecter is definitely a horror icon. But there's only a few movies of that. But I think an important box, in my opinion, is, do you go the distance in the box office? Do you go the distance with the sequels? That's important. That's very important to me, and I think that's an important one. And we're at number 3, but there's not a whole lot of franchises where the money continuously goes up. So, I mean, it's very much looking like an Elm Street situation. One kind of came out, made one didn't make a huge splash. I mean, it did for me. I
No.
was well aware of it, but it wasn't a thing where it really blew up. I remember, as a matter of fact, Nick, I remember I bought the Blu-ray for one in 20, it was probably 2017. And dude, I felt like I had to go on the black market to find it. This is well
Yeah.
before it was like on Amazon. Like, so, and I remember when I got the Blu-ray, when you could reverse the artwork is the drawing of the girl upside down like a deer. Like,
Mhm.
it's disturbing artwork. And I remember at that time it was shocking to me. So, one kind of comes out and does its thing, and then all of a sudden the timing, everything was just perfectly right for two. It just, people were ready for it. The character is very marketable. Clown, I don't know, I feel like clowns are always in style, but
Mhm.
everything about it was just right. And I definitely think this is on the right path. I think,
Yeah.
give me another, if the next movie crushes, the character starts doing more. I mean, the character's already doing big money on like merchandise, so I think it's gonna happen. And guess what, people? Even if you don't like it, it's okay to say, "Wow, this is really taking off and it's making a lot of people happy." Yeah, I'd say art is probably a horror icon at this point. Like, it doesn't mean you have to like everything, but you can
Yeah.
also you know, be honest with what's going on in pop culture. Like, I don't really listen to Beyonce, but to say she's not like an icon, like at a certain point, it's just like, well, she fills arenas, for God's sakes. I think it's okay to admit to myself that Beyonce is an icon. So that's my thing. But there's other things I could list off, but those are, to me, are my two most important boxes to be checked. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
I mean,
they're kind of the same thing, right? Not necessarily, but they're kind of the same thing, because one of those, the box office and the sequels coming out, would kind of go with the other ones. With the other ones, are you a pop culture? Are you taking over pop culture for a longer period of time? So,
yeah. Yeah. No, I'll even meet, like you said, I'll even meet somebody halfway and say, even if you want to say like he's not there yet, but he's on his way, I'd probably even lean more toward that. I'd probably lean more toward he's well on his way. And he will be one if he isn't already. But another interesting thing about this that I was actually thinking about this today, and I was like, wow, Terrifier really is becoming really popular, like just in pop culture. Like everybody is aware of it now. And when I was in the theater, I saw so many normal looking like couples, not like people like me with long hair and horror movie t-shirts and stuff, like you see a lot of people like that when you see movies like that. That's your people. But, and that's what I saw with.
casual viewers is what is kind of like the
Yeah,
market term you're saying.
yeah, and I was seeing them. I was seeing couples of like mid 20 somethings, and I'm like, wow, like this is different. Like, um, and so he's really broken into the mainstream while ironically still being an indie horror character, which is just impressive in and of itself. People don't understand that these movies don't have the marketing budget behind them. They don't have the studio infrastructure. They do not
Right.
have that. So to get out, do you think you saw a Terrifier 3 commercial on TV? No, you didn't. You never saw a trailer while watching anything on streaming or on television. It didn't
Right.
happen. The only place you saw or heard about Terrifier was the internet. And the fact that that by itself helped create a box office opening like this, I mean, it's just like, yeah, you're lying to yourself if you want to like take away from the movie success or the character or the franchise, at large, or, writ large. It's one of those things where it's like when you're living through something, you are, whether it's for you or not, when you're living through something. I mean, shit, dude, we've seen it throughout our lifetimes. Harry Potter, Twilight, you're living through it. Whether you see it happening, whether you like it or not, that's not the point. It's happening. And I just think that Terrifier is one of those things. It's interesting. I've been listening to a lot of interviews with Damien this weekend since it came out. I stayed away from anything until I saw the movie because I was like, I don't want to even potentially be spoiled. And now I've been listening to a lot of any interview I can find of him talking about the movie. And he said after Terrifier 2's success, all the big, he won't name the studios, but he's like, a bunch of big studios called me in to meet with them. He's like, and believe me, there's studios you know of. And I'm meeting with the heads of these studios. You know, you would have to assume Lionsgate, Warner Brothers. Yeah, Blumhouse, whatever it may be. I'm sure Blum was one of them. And he was like, all of the studios basically said the same thing. Hey, you got a hit on your hands. People like this character. We want to do business with you. We want the rights to Terrifier. And he was open to it. And then every single studio basically said the same thing.
We got to get an R.
You got to get an R, and you'd have to rebrand it. So we just go back to calling it just Terrifier. And then Damien was like, so what? The 2 movies I made now are like no longer canon, and we're just already rebooting. And then I have to get an R rating. And he was like, so thanks, but no thanks. And if you thought that people were kicking his door down after 2, imagine the calls he's getting this weekend. Imagine. Jason Blum might be outside his house with a fucking boombox right now. Like, they want that money. And kudos to Damien for being like, no, I'm not going to sacrifice this artistically at all in any way, shape, or form. That's not to say going to a studio is a bad idea. And he said the same thing. I'm not saying that's a bad idea. But specifically for this property, if you want to make it R-rated, make it 90 minutes long, and, you know, reboot it, no, it's a disservice to the fans. And it's a disservice to me, the creator.
You know, I also wonder too, speaking of the big studios, if this is a great disruptor for, you know, the major studios to say, wait a minute, you know, we need to change what we're doing. That's what I wonder if that's really going to happen. Maybe not so much with Paramount because they're one of the only studios that's really good at marketing. How much money do you think Smile 2 is going to do?
Smile made 200 million worldwide at the end.
That's fucking crazy.
I see this one doing a little bit less when it's all said and done.
Like 115, 120?
I'd say 150. Could be wrong.
I thought Smile was okay. There's nothing wrong with okay horror films. Not everything is going to rock your world. But I thought the trailer for 2 looked interesting. I don't know if I'm going to like the movie because
I don't like the trailer.
It's about a pop singer and like she's like a fake, like not a real. It's not based off like a real singer, I guess. It's like a. But my thing is, it's like, is this Paramount's thing where they get too big for their britches and then they go for, you know, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to go see it in the theater.
I'm not going to go see it in the theater. I made that decision because I thought the first one was just also. Like, it was fine. But nothing about that movie made me go, I can't wait for the sequel. Like, I just, you know, I was like, okay, that happened. So I'm not going to go see it in the theater, but early word of mouth on it is good. You know, the early reviews are positive. So I'm sure that it will be successful. And maybe this is Paramount's new horror franchise that they're going to, you know, keep cranking them out for, at least for a while, because look, guys, we've seen it in this day and age. It's hard to keep a franchise going, specifically horror. You can make a couple that make money, and then eventually it starts to get a little long in the tooth. And people are like, I want something different. And that's just part of this generation now. Very short attention spans. Like, you know, you get to 3, 4, and then people are like, what, give me something different. I don't think that Smile is going to be a series that spawns 10 movies.
I agree.
And I think that is because this is another thing about Terrifier. I think Terrifier is going to have legs long term because it's different than all of these franchises. Like, I want to ask you a serious question, and I said this in my review. After you saw Terrifier and you saw the hacksaw scene, did you think they could outdo that? And then after you saw the bedroom scene in Terrifier 2, there's no way you thought, oh, they're going to do even better next time. In my opinion, they did. They did. The shower scene
Well,
is
they
disgusting.
Yeah, I think the salt in the back is still worse than the shower scene. But what, in my opinion, what Damien did was he fucked with me up here more in this movie than the other two, with the kids at the mall
Yes.
and the
Yes.
kid in the beginning. The fact that you hear the kid in the beginning getting hacked up, like that. The thing about, for me, what I said was the difference in this movie is I felt like Damien really attacked you, which some people disagree. They're like, "No, it was funny," and I guess that says more about them than me. But uh, I thought the movie was more intense mentally than the other two. To me, the second one was,
Mhm.
it was kind of like, oh, but this one was just like, oh god,
This
like,
one challenges you. It challenges your morality. Like it definitely does. This movie challenges you. You're not wrong. And I did, like I told you, I did get a comment where someone said the movie was blasphemous and everything and this and that. I think people are totally misreading that. I think that if anything, the message for that third act is that like Sienna is the embodiment of good, and Art and Vicky are the embodiment of evil. Yes, they're mocking, Christ and Christianity, presumably, but Sienna is the foil to that evil. She is the embodiment of good. And so, like, and anytime you're dealing with demons in movies, The Exorcist, The Conjuring, whatever it may be, it's always blasphemous because they're demons. So, like, their idea is to be blasphemous.
right.
And at least in this movie, you have the foil to that. That you've met your match. It's good versus evil. And I just, I don't know. I felt like that was weird because it's like, I I don't know. And that's a conversation for another day. But yeah, this movie challenges you in a lot of ways. It's a harder watch. Like it really is a harder watch. There's you talk about how like they did that with the kid off screen, but you hear it loud, and
Yeah.
then you see the aftermath. I did not think they were going to show the aftermath, and they showed it. Head, legs, arms, all over the bedroom. I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, Damien, sick son of a bitch.
I don't know that Terrifier 3 is still the most like disturbing kind of movie I've ever seen.
Oh no.
Like, there are movies that like there's a movie called Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, and the opening shot of that movie is what was presumably like a hooker or a prostitute, this woman, and she's like slumped over a toilet dead. And she's not brutally massacred, but she was clearly like she was cut and she was killed. And the movie starts with like her just like her she's dead and her eyes are just looking out and the camera slowly pans out of it. Stuff like that. And it's obviously Henry is a really serious movie. Stuff like that is what really bothers me the most. So, but I guess what I'm getting at is the fact that Damien took an over the top, because I see these movies as somewhat parodies of slasher films,
Mm-hmm.
which isn't an insult. Like, slasher films were known for having the gore and all that stuff. This is beyond over the top gore. But the fact that he was able to, for me, just like mentally have me just go like, oh God, man, like shit, is impressive, which is why I think this is my favorite, because that's hard to do after watching some of the ridiculous shit I've seen. But
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
you know, like no, I've been asked,
Jeepers Creepers Reborn.
me and Sydney watched that the other night because she hadn't seen it. But like, people ask me if it's worse than Serbian film. No, it's not worse than Serbian film. Serbian film is, but to me, Serbian film is also kind of funny. But you're never gonna top a baby. Like,
Well,
you're never going to top a baby.
there's a comedic element to Terrifier, to all of them. The gore, I
Right.
said this in my review, it's not ultra realistic. Like it's over the top on purpose. I don't think it makes you uncomfortable because it's like he's like playing with his food. Like, yeah, I don't know. I will say that there's a lot about the movie that I do want to I want to talk about the end.
Sure.
And I want to talk about what it's setting up. And I actually really like the parallel. The end, they're both left alone, presumably. Art is now alone. Vicky is gone. Sienna is presumably now alone. And Art's impulse is to run because now that he's alone, she can kill him for good. And her impulse is, I'm going to find you
Right.
and end this. And so that's really cool. I like that a lot. But I want to ask you, we kind of mentioned, I don't think Jonathan's dead either. I think they were just trying to get in her head. I think when she called him, I think he heeded her warning and got out before they got him personally. Or they have him in captivity somewhere, but I do not believe he's dead. But presumably, Gabby isn't dead either. She's been taken to hell. And this is an interesting thing. Terrifier 4 could get really weird, dude, because Sienna's already been to hell. Yeah, in Terrifier 2, when she dies, she goes to hell and then comes out like the other side. And this when she takes on Art and cuts his head off. So, like, if Gabby's been taken to hell, bro, she could literally go to hell in Terrifier 4 to get her out. Like,
how much is that going to cost? That's the question.
Here's the thing. Budget was multiplied by 10 from Terrifier 2 to Terrifier 3.
Was it really?
Movie, $250,000 for that one, and this one was $2.5 million. So
that's how much it costs to make?
Yeah.
Wow, you're kidding me.
No.
I didn't know that. I thought it was going to be like $500K.
No. Damien said this time was the first time they had a makeup effects department, so Damien didn't have to do the makeup anymore. Yeah.
Dude, you know what would have been smart? And if anybody would have done it, I feel like it would have been Paramount. Why didn't Paramount just say, "Hey, Damien, we're going to let you do whatever you want to do. Let us put the movie out." You know what other movie that happened to, Nick? Friday the 13th.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Sean made the movie, and then Paramount was like, "Hey, we're gonna put it out." What? If people are meeting with him and they're saying, "Well, we're gonna do this," but he's saying we're gonna put it out, but we're just gonna put it out. We have to reboot it, and we have to make it R. Why not just fucking buy the movie, or like get the work with them to put to me that would be, if I was a studio, that's what I'm doing. Okay,
well, I think
so it's unrated. Now, you have to be an adult to be able to go in.
Well, I think that's going to change now, because Terrifier 2 was successful, but people will look at it on the macro and be like, it only made $15 million. Like, it's not like it was this huge hit. But it had $250,000 budget, and it only played in like 700 theaters. So that is a very big hit. But
with little marketing too, like you said.
He didn't have many legs to stand on still. This time, oh my God, he has the #1 movie in the country. Like,
that's insane. Half the country can only see it, but he still has it.
Exactly. So, like, he is going to have all the power, all the sway. So don't be surprised if a big player does come in now and is like, hey, we've seen that if we just let him do what he wants, he's going to make us tens of millions of dollars. So maybe now studios that might have had cold feet and might have wanted to do things their own way might circle back and go, hey, Damien, we want to do this again, but don't worry. Keep doing you. We just want to distribute it and make money off of it. I mean, I'm just trying to think. We'll have to see how this does internationally, and I don't know the kind of box office is, I don't even know what the international rollout is like for Terrifier 3. I would assume the numbers will be quite ho-hum internationally. It's going to make most of its money here. But with an opening weekend like this, dude, this movie's going to make $60 to $70 million probably by the end of its run. I mean, and then you're on a $2 million budget? Like, dude, Damien Leone is now rich. Congratulations to Damien. He talked about he was still delivering flowers out of a flower truck right before releasing Terrifier 2. He was still working. And he said after 2 came out, he was able to buy his own house. For the first time, he was able to buy a house.
Good for him.
And now, after Terrifier 3, he's probably going to buy another house because he's good. He's good now. And, I'm interested to see what he's going to do in his career later on, like when he's done with his because even though I think Terrifier as a franchise will be a franchise that lasts for years and years and years, but I think Damien will be done when he feels like he said all he has to say with it once his story is done. But it'll be like James Wan, where he'll still be a producer on future movies and stuff like that and make money. I'm interested to see where he goes because he's showing studios he can be a grindhouse filmmaker in this day and age and make money.
You want to know when he's going to make a lot of money? I'll tell you when he's going to make a lot of money. When he sells the damn thing. Like when he's done, like you're saying, and when he George Lucas's it, you know, sells it to Disney. When art eventually gets bought by Disney.
And then the little pale girl is a Disney princess now.
Yeah.
That's another thing too that I was thinking about, dude. David Howard Thornton is now Art the Clown, just like Robert was Freddy Krueger. So like, that's going to be another quandary. If this is a franchise that takes off for years and years, once David's done playing Art, he is Art.
I agree. I totally agree, but I still really like the guy that played him in All Hallows Eve. But that was a different thing, kind of.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's close to Freddy. It's close. I do think somebody else could do the character passably well enough, but the character doesn't speak. So there's
David's
still
a
that
stage
element.
actor, and he's a stage actor. So he's really good with his body language, really good with his eyes, his facial expressions.
Dude, he is phenomenal. Like, of course, I would not want to see anybody else play him. But between Freddy and Art, I think somebody will be able to do Art before somebody can do Freddy.
But
not to take anything away from it.
Even you and I have agreed to this point, even that we still think somebody could do Freddy too. I mean, they're not going to be Robert, but somebody could do Freddy.
Half of the time, I agree with that. The other half of the time, I say you're out of your fucking mind. Wrap it, like forget about it. Let's just enjoy the movies we have. That's the other half of the time. Then other times, I do say somebody just fucking do it. You know, like let somebody do it. I don't know, man. Like,
would you agree that this was David's best performance? Terrifier 3. I think it was the best Art performance I've seen yet.
Sure. He's found his groove with this one, and I think he's at this point he's probably able to look at a scene and know how the character would react and when he would react. And some of my favorite parts of the movie is when the clown actually gets pissed.
And
he makes those faces.
Favorite scene in the movie was the bar scene. Bar scene with Daniel Roebuck and Clint Howard. That was my favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah. I mean, my favorite is still that weird scene in the house when the girl's in that nasty ass tub. But you know, the fact that the character can be funny, but also when the character gets angry and you see the just the evil in the face, that's what's so cool. Yeah, I'm a fan, man. I really am a fan. And somebody was asking me, he's like, dude, do you think I kind of laughed. They're like, do you think there's going to be when they released? Because I think the movie is going to come out on Blu-ray around December 17th, which will be nice because then you can watch it for Christmas. But somebody said to me, they said, Christian, do you think the Blu-ray is going to be like a uncut, like director's cut version of the movie? I said, if they cut anything out of that movie, it's got to be fucking illegal. Like, it's got to be illegal.
They cut almost 30 minutes.
Well, besides time, I guess.
Well, Damien said in an interview today that there is a scene in the third act that has to do with the girl Gabby that was really mean-spirited that they cut out. He was it was really mean-spirited. Yeah.
If that's the case, then there's your answer. I'm sure it will come out on Blu. Well, unless he decided to take it out in good conscience, he's not going to have it be released. That's one thing.
They asked him if they asked him because they were talking about the kid stuff, and they were like, "Is there any line you have? Do you have a line that you won't cross?" And he
clearly does.
Well, he pretty bluntly said, "I don't actually." He's like, "I really don't think there's any line I won't cross, but I do have limitations. There's no subject I won't tackle, but there's only so much of certain things I'll show." So he'll tackle anything, any kind of messed up, offensive thing you can think of. He's not going to shy away from putting it in his movie. But like, he gave an example. He was like, there was one scene. He didn't specify the scene, but he said David came up to him and was like, yeah, and like, what if after all this, Art does this to the bodies? He didn't say what he suggested, but Damien was like, no, That's too fucked up. We're not doing that. So, but he didn't give detail on what David suggested. But he was like, we're not doing that. That's too far. I'm not going to speculate on what Dave and you know the funny thing is David is like the nicest guy, well mannered. Like he is not this type of person. Like he never saw himself doing these kind of movies. He's he's not at all like Art the Clown in any way. He doesn't have a bad bone in his body, but as soon as he gets into the makeup, he's like, dude, let's desecrate these bodies. And Damien's like, yeah.
It's interesting because some of my favorite like movie villains, when I'll watch like interviews, special features, blah blah blah, I'll always hear how those people that play the bad people are always like the nicest people in actual real life. So I'm wondering what is it about that? Why is there some kind of weird correlation to that? I
I
don't
don't know,
know.
man. I don't know.
Like
Maybe
Balo
do
Young from like Bloodsport, probably the greatest, villain in any martial arts film, and Enter the Dragon. Just this intensely mean motherfucker. Like he is so evil. But you watch interviews with Balo, he's like the sweetest, gentlest kind of guy in the world. Maybe they are able to like because it's like it's a burden being nice all the time because usually everybody else in real life is an asshole that like they're like, well, there's all my
you could
pent
say
up
this, yeah.
aggression. I could put it out on. I
You
can
could
put
say
it
the
out on.
same thing about Robert. I mean, you really could. I mean, by all accounts, he's a really nice guy. And he gets
Legend.
in that makeup and he can just be downright disgusting. Like, I mean, it's just but it's funny, Damien was doing an interview and the interviewer compared this movie to Dream Warriors. You mentioned that earlier. And he was like, yeah, that's when Nightmare really took off and it found its footing and it knew what it was doing. And Damien, unprompted, pushed back and was like, no, I really liked Freddy's Revenge. I really liked part 2. I just don't think people were ready for it. And that's when I texted you last night and said that because in that interview, unprompted, this interviewer was like, yeah, Nightmare 3 is when they finally got it right. And Damien was like, no, they had it right with part 2. But part 3 was when people really, started to accept it. I dug the shit out of that moment because I was like,
Yeah, I remember you texted me about that. Good.
I was like,
That
yeah,
makes me happy.
yeah, like he knew.
Part 2 is so fucking good, dude. Like I could talk like I could probably do 6 hours of talking about Elm Street movies. A clean 6 hours.
Well, I want to tee you up then. I saw you talking about it earlier in your Patreon chat. We'd been talking about this on episodes before. Looking pretty likely we're going to get some 4Ks next year, right, Christian?
Somebody hit me up while we were recording this. I can't say who it is.
Christian and I will talk after.
No, when I say I can't talk to I can't the guy said if you say anything to anybody.
I'm kidding. If anybody's listening, I'm kidding. He won't tell me. He doesn't break that.
No, I'm not I should you know what? I can't even talk about this. So I'm just going to move
on.
No,
okay, yeah, but let me preface I just want to say he hasn't said anything, but this is something that we have talked about.
Let me say what I talked about today because when I put this video out today, it got somebody's attention. That's what I will say. So today, Rachel Talalay, somebody sent me this, and they say, Christian, you ought to see this. So Rachel Talalay on her own Instagram posted that she's restoring Freddy's Dead. Like she was at Warner Brothers today, actually restoring it. And so I was like, holy shit, I got to talk about this. And I said in the video, I was like, look, part 1's obviously this massive success on 4K. The pre-orders are probably astronomically high. Rachel Talalay is working on restoring her movie right now. She's even talking about the new 3D technology that they're using. And I was basically saying, guys, the rest of these movies are clearly coming out on 4K. I love Freddy's Dead, but this goes back to being realistic. They're not just going to do Freddy's Dead. These other movies are being restored right now. They are. And so I can just say this, and I'm not going to talk about this for a while. God, I got to be really careful.
I did not know. I was not trying to walk you into anything.
Let me be really careful here.
If you can't, you can't. Just you can just keep it as simple as like all I meant was that it seems like we're going to, based off
No,
of what Rachel Talalay said.
it's past that. Of course it's happening. It's what I all I'm going to say is if you're even if you're a hardcore Elm Street fan, it sounds like we're about to see stuff we've never seen before. That's what I'll say, and I'm going to leave it at that.
All right, great. So make sure you guys get your wallets ready next year. So it's
That's
exciting.
what I'll
It's
say.
exciting.
Yes. And when I say I can't talk to anybody about this, any sort of specifics, I can't. That includes you. No disrespect. Because people are watching me. People are watching me.
Are they in the room with you right now?
No, they're not in the room, but I guess that video I did, it got somebody's attention. And so I got a message from somebody that I looked into them and I was like, Jesus Christ. Like where they are, what they do, who they're connected with. And so,
all right, guys, I'll just tell you, Jason Blum reached out to Christian, and not only did he say that they're doing it, but he's given the financing for Uncle Jerry 3. It's going to Blumhouse.
Here, but to go along with this, what I'm really interested in finding out is if a new movie is going to happen. Because a lot of times, this I have no idea about. A lot of times, though, when a new movie comes out, especially a remake of some sort, the original property is pushed out big time. The Crow, when the remake for that got announced, which I'm still shocked it kind of bombed, but whatever. But Paramount pumped out the original movie on 4K, sold really well, all that sort of stuff. And with the news of obviously the Elm Street films and stuff like that, which is not a secret, I literally showed on the video, and you go to Rachel Talalay's Instagram, she's restoring the movie. She publicly said it. So now that we know the Elm Street films are coming on 4K and stuff like that, is a new movie happening? Is it even in the works a little bit? I mean, obviously we just saw Robert say he's not doing one, but he said he'd like to be invited if they do one. So maybe there is no Elm Street movie in the works right now. I don't know, but I could tell you what's also very interesting. I bought I needed a new book today to write like video ideas and stuff down because my phone's so clogged up with stuff on there. I really can't save videos or whatever. I have to always erase stuff on my phone to save anything. So when it comes to writing down ideas for like videos and stuff like that, I have a little journal because if I ever become somebody one day, Nick, I'm going to sell this. This is my old thing where I used to write down videos and I'd put done across it. And I filled this book up with all kinds of ideas for videos when I would do them, and I would write done on them. But anyway, so I filled this out. I was like, I need to get another book. So I went to Books A Million earlier with Sydney, and I was like, let me go get like a nice little hardback journal. And I went there and I saw, say they got anything kind of cool for the horror room. I'll get something. And they had they didn't have a Nightmare on Elm Street one. They had a Camp Crystal Lake one. I was like, oh, cool, that's perfect. So I got that. And when I got the Camp Crystal Lake journal, it's in the living room. I should have grabbed it, but it's so interesting now that Jason and Friday the 13th, Nick, it's all under Warner Brothers now. All of it. The only thing Paramount has is the home video distribution of their 8 movies. Because on the back of the journal, it's got Friday the 13th plastered on it, the actual logo on the back, and on the bottom it says Jason and all other properties related to Friday the 13th are owned by Warner Brother / New Line. And so I didn't realize this until a little while ago when that Crystal Lake show when the Jason show was supposed to come out in 2017, that was Paramount who did a favor for Warner Brothers, apparently, having the license for Friday the 13th at that time, but they needed to get it out by a certain point, and if not, they were going to lose the rights, and they canned it, which is stupid. So for a while, all that stuff has been under Warner Brothers, which makes me wonder why even now it's just like it seems like it should be easier for them to make another Friday movie. Which is also why the Crystal Lake show, they've said we have the rights to everything. We have the rights to everything. But I don't know. I want a fucking movie for Friday. It's always going to be easier to do a Friday movie than a Nightmare movie. It always is. And
are you talking simply just because of the Robert element?
Sure.
Because legally, I was going to say legally it would be easier for Nightmare. But
yeah, but it's not any. It's even playing field now. Paramount, all they have the rights to. They can't license merchandise or anything. They can't use Friday the 13th on merch, anything. If you go and buy anything at a store right now that's Friday the 13th, it's all under license from New Line. They have the rights to the title. They have the rights to the characters. It's all New Line. Paramount, all they have right now is the movies that they made, the 8 movies from the 80s, 1 through 8. That's it. That's the only thing that they can make money off of with Friday the 13th anymore. So if they make a new movie now, conceivably, it's all going to be under Warner Brothers New Line. So it's just as easy, really. I don't know. Here's the other thing. What the fuck is this Jason universe thing that is going on? Like, what is it? What is it? Well, what is it?
It's going to be like, oh, merchandise and maybe a video game and comic books. So basically, nothing that anyone wants.
Manfredini said that he slipped up. I think I don't know if he got in trouble, but he said he was already working on music for a new Friday the 13th video game. Like this was like 3 or 4 months ago. He said this.
Yeah, that
Which,
was.
Thank God,
was
dude. I want another game. That last one was fucking amazing. I still play it.
Yeah, that was, I believe, included in the press release for the Jason universe. They didn't like say, "Oh, a new one is coming," but they said, "Under this umbrella, we'll have merchandise and video games and blah blah blah." But no new actual movies or shows or anything. It's to me, it came across like a grift. That's kind of how I took it. It came across as a grift to make money off Jason fans because they know that they're hungry for Jason stuff, and they were like, "We'll give you some stuff." I mean, not a new movie or anything, but like we'll give you some new stuff that you might like. And I was like, that's just cheap. Like you guys, I can smell a grift a mile away, and it just seemed like a grift. I don't think anybody is going to be happy with a world where there isn't any actual, you know, active new Friday the 13th material in development. People have been asking for it for almost 2 decades now. It's crazy to think that we are 15 years removed from the last Friday movie. And same with Nightmare. We're about to be 15 years removed from that. And
crazy.
It's just insane. I mean, neither one of those franchises has ever seen a break this long. And it just gets to a point where it's like, it makes you worry. It really does make you start to worry that if they've gone this long, maybe it will stay dead. Like maybe I feel like you get to a point, and if you block the noise out long enough and long enough and long enough, and it eventually starts to die down, maybe you just don't ever come back. And I personally wouldn't be cool with that. I mean, I think that when these franchises are out and they're doing well, they make people happy, and it's good for the community and the industry at large. But personally, I mean, I want a new Nightmare movie. Like I need air to breathe. And part of that is simply just because like I'm a little Michael'd out right now. I'm cool with that taking a rest. And it's just this morbid curiosity for what Nightmare can be moving forward without Robert. Like I really want to see it. And if it's terrible, at least they tried. At least we got to see something new, for better or worse. But I'm so curious about the future of that series. I just really am.
I totally hear you. Why do I want a Friday movie more than an Elm Street movie?
I feel like part of you is, even if you don't necessarily know it at times, I feel like it's because you're at peace with Nightmare. I really do think you are. You got your movies that you love, and I think also part of it is, yeah, but do I really want this without Robert? Like, do I? He's Freddy to me.
Well,
Like,
the thing about Freddy to me, it's so fucking 80s, man. And everything, I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. I really don't. Maybe it is the Robert thing. See, I like I like Freddy vs. Jason all right. I think the last great Nightmare movie was probably New Nightmare.
but that was the 90s. You liked the
94, yeah.
two movies that came out in the 90s. You liked Freddy's Dead and New Nightmare. So he didn't have to just be relegated to the 80s.
No. You know what though, Nick? Like one of these days I'm going to have to admit this whether I want to admit it or not. If anybody looks at my channel, I don't think that they would think that Nightmare is my favorite. What do you think they would say my favorite is? If you looked at my channel?
If they looked at it right now, they might say Halloween.
Absolutely not. Dude, I haven't done a Halloween
Friday.
video.
Friday. What?
I
You
haven't
did
done a Halloween video in a while.
you did Rob Zombie's Halloween too, didn't you?
I haven't even posted that yet.
Is that on Patreon?
Yeah.
That's where I saw it. Okay, never mind. Yeah, disregard that. It
Let me
might be
put let me
Friday the
put it to you like
13th.
let me
It
put it
might
to you
be
like
Friday the
this.
13th.
I can never make fun of people that do a bunch of Halloween videos. Because if you look at my channel, I do a lot of Friday the 13th.
Yeah, I was gonna say Friday the 13th, probably.
One of these days, I'm gonna finally just come out and say it's a tie. Like I like them both equally.
It's not. You're lying.
No, I'm not lying. I'm serious, dude. Like I fucking love Elm Street so much. It's in my blood. But so is Friday. Like it probably is a tie. And I don't know. I don't think anybody. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody if I said that.
Well, Christian,
Dude, I live and fucking breathe Friday the 13th so much. I could talk about that equally just as much. It's probably a tie, and I don't think that's a big deal. But dude, I'm serious. I love Halloween too, but like Desert Island, I need the Friday movies with me. I need them. Like if I just had Friday or Nightmare, if I had to pick between the two, I would seriously have to sit there and think about it. It'd be
what's your
tough.
favorite Friday? Jason Lives or Final Chapter?
Probably Final Chapter, but
Okay. So
Jason Lives, I have so much love for that movie with Alice and everything, but dude,
so
like
then Desert
I love
Island, then if you had to pick Final Chapter or Freddy's Revenge.
Freddy's Revenge. Like if you're gonna ask me my favorite between all those movies, it's Freddy's Revenge. That to me is probably like top 5 of my favorite horror movies of all time. I love them both so much, man. I really do. My point is, I fucking love Friday the 13th so goddamn much. Like anybody that looks at my channel could see that I'm a mark. I'm a mark for Friday. They always do really well on my channel too, which is another reason I like doing it. But okay, so the last Halloween video I have posted on my channel was a month ago, and it was about the Anchor Bay Halloween releases.
Yep. No,
And
that was recency bias. I remember getting the notification on Patreon for your Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 one, and I was like, "Oh, he's doing what he said he was going to do. You know, he's going to go down the Halloween pipeline this October."
I've got to watch Halloween 5.
And you need to
Maybe
do a video on it. You need to do a video.
I do. Because I want to watch that one again. I want to watch that one again, and so I got Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 done, and I want to do Halloween 5. I'm trying to think of what other one I want to do. I did the Blumhouse movies last year, which I honestly had a good time.
You,
Me and City enjoyed watching them again. She doesn't like Kills. She thinks Kills is silly. But
I
she
think
likes 18 and she likes Ends okay. But she likes 18 the most out of the 3 of them, which I think is probably the popular
I think if you're
answer.
going to do 5, you have to do one of these other two. It has to be one of these two, and I'm just going to say it for reasons, and I don't think you can argue with me. No, I know you well enough to know it's got to be Curse or H2O.
I
I
did
know
Curse
both.
last year. I did
Okay, so
Curse last year.
it's got to be H2O. I know you have a soft spot in your heart for that movie. You have for a long time. I know in recent years people have turned on that movie, especially after the Blumhouse trilogy, and I think that a fresh eyes revisit on that one could do wonders for your soul. Because I know you've always really liked that movie. I think you should do H2O because everybody does the original. Everybody does Halloween 3. That's played out. Everybody talks about Halloween 4. Oh, Halloween 4, it's the best sequel. No, it's not. But do H2O.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right. The only one I'm excited about doing is 5, though. Like, that's the thing. Like, I'm kind of bummed that I did the Blumhouse ones because, like, those are the ones that have the most controversy are the ones that I get excited about doing. Does H2O have much controversy, or just people just say I don't like
Well,
it because there's a computer mask in it?
it that was the big complaint for a while, but after the trilogy came out with Blumhouse, a lot of people turned on H2O. They really did because they were like, "Oh, this is what it should have been from the beginning." You know, they're not brother and sister. You know, this is the route I wanted to see Laurie Strode go. Um, you know, myself included, I was even like for a while, I was caught in that mindset of like, "Oh yeah, this is better." And now I unequivocally I will take to my grave that H2O is better than 2018 simply just because it's Jamie Lee Curtis's best performance as Laurie in the series is H2O. And furthermore, the trauma sells so much better when it's his sister. And she's moved across the country to get away and changed her name and living a different life. And he finds her anyway. There's just the stakes are higher there. I 18, we were all caught in a moment with 18, man. But when you go back and you look at 18, you're like, some of this doesn't make sense. Like she's been preparing like Sarah Connor for 40 fucking years after 3 people died. Like it's just
I'm so glad to hear you say that.
yeah, like it doesn't make sense. And that's why when people had issues with ends with her, like, I'm gonna stop obsessing over this guy. I liked that. That made sense to me. I never understood why people didn't like that in ends. That's how she should have been in 18. Like
That's exactly why I like Ends, but I don't love it because I can't help but feel like it's ass backwards.
no, but you know, blame Danny and David for that. But regardless of the way it shakes out timeline wise, you know, which movie came first, that Laurie I much prefer. In this timeline, with them not being related and only a couple people dying 40 years ago, Laurie would not. It's just, I get it. People trust, they process trauma differently. I get it. But like 18's Laurie is so over the fucking top. And that wig is god awful. It is awful. It is. Stop putting wigs on Jamie Lee Curtis in the Halloween movies. It didn't work in Halloween 2. It didn't work in Halloween 2018. I just H2O is just I have my issues with it. The masks, the scream, you know, feel and fucking score. Like I've got my issues with H2O, but like there's so much more gravitas to that movie, dude. So much more gravitas. Like when she sees him, it's not just, oh my God, this is the guy that tried to kill me 20 years ago. She's like, that's my fucking brother. Like I made a video a week ago called The Laurie Strode Problem. And I settled it. I talked out both timelines and I settled it at the end and I said, it's better when they're brother and sister. It just is. It's in pop culture like Vader is Luke's father. Like it's better when they're brother and sister. It
Right.
adds more stakes. It's just the way it is. So yeah, H2O, man. And I think that you'll find, I know you say like, well, I'm really only excited to go back to 5, but I know you well enough to know, like you've always defended H2O because I've over the years on this podcast, I've said some shit about H2O and you've pushed back because I know
Yeah.
that you've always had a soft spot for that movie. And I think just going back and watching it again, especially over the recent years, you just covered, you know, the Hollow Green trilogy last year. I think since that's fresh in your mind, you'll watch this and be like, man, this is Laurie Strode. That not 2018. This is the
Well,
Laurie
I can
Strode.
tell you, I know I feel that way because that's just Jamie Lee Curtis being herself on video on in the movie, which is why to me I just love it so much. It's so real. Like I just feel like she is kind of a alpha personality. She runs shit. That's Jamie Lee Curtis's vibe in real life, and that's how she is in the movie. And to me, it's just like that's Jamie Lee Curtis, which makes it feels so real.
Yeah.
I really do love H2O. I still like it more than any of the Blumhouse movies. I can tell you that.
I'll take it over 18. I definitely will. Kills is different. I'd say H2O is higher quality, more stakes. It actually has a plot. Kills doesn't really have a plot, but Kills is just so much fun. I'll die on the hill of ends, as you know.
You know
But
what? I think about it. I think I might like 18 and ends over Kills.
I can
I'll
tell
tell.
you, I watched Kills last October, or no, it wasn't even October. I watched it in June when I was in South Carolina, the night before I went to visit the filming location. So me and my brother were like, "Let's watch it because we're going to the filming locations tomorrow." It didn't keep my attention the whole time. I still like it, but I think the fact that it is just a very fun, briskly paced movie with no plot sometimes also works to its disadvantage because you just at times you're
Well,
not invested.
yeah, I mean, this is what I'll say. Um 18 has the best score easily out of the 3 to me, and that's important to me. And ends, I think there's I to me that cave is kind of like the deadlights in it. Like I
Mhm.
just want to go. The expression in that movie in the original, not the remake, but like I think Eddie Spaghetti says, "I saw the lights and I wanted to be there." Like when I see that
Yep.
cave, I want to be there, and I love how that looks on in the movie. Like I'm kind of obsessed with it. So like that's why I say I think I like Kills the least out of the 3.
I think that you could. I think you were about to say. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think the best story of the three is Ends. 100%. I think it's the best plot of the three Blumhouse movies because 18 is
There's
just
still there's
recycled.
still there's still some cringy shit to it though.
I'm not saying there isn't. I'm just
Like
saying like 18 is just a recycled lesser version of H2O in my opinion. Like
like
it's just
yeah. I like dude, the farther away we get from the 90s, the more I miss it. Like I fucking love H2O.
I've come around on it in recent years. It's still not in my top half of my ranking or anything, but I used to be in love with it when I was a teenager. It was one of my favorite Halloween movies. Halloween 1, 2 or Halloween 1, 2 and H2O. Like that was my jam. And when I first got into the series. And then
Right.
as years went on, I was like, you know what? I really like 5 and Curse. Like I really like these movies. And now I think I've settled on like I know which ones are objectively just not very good movies. And I don't think H2O is one of those. I don't think it's objectively not a good movie. I really, really don't. The most important thing about a movie is plot and acting and characters you give a shit about. And I'm sorry, but Judy Greer ain't holding a candle to Josh Hartnett. All right. That ain't Laurie's daughter. Okay. Okay. John Tate. That's the Laurie Strode offspring. And then Jamie Lloyd before that, but we won't go there. But yeah,
Well,
I
just this,
mean,
yeah, the scene of them in the connective tissue is just like. Plus, it's like it's got like I think time is such an important factor that people don't give enough credence to. Like from H2O came out in 1998. How long ago was that?
that was 26 years ago.
You're competing with 26 years of marinating and being in the hearts and minds of people for that long. Like that is a factor that you can't ignore. Like that's why there's so many people that like they can't they like oh, fucking love the original still. Yeah, that was good, but the original. Like I think there's always a part of people that's just like, God damn it, man.
I mean,
And
yeah, my mom, man, she saw the original in theaters when she was like 13 and talked about what that movie was like. And she liked 18, but my mom prefers H2O and Halloween 2. She just, those, oh, they hold a special place in her heart. But I ask you a serious question. I think you know the answer to this. I already know your answer. You think 26 years after 18, people are going to be looking back at 18 like they do at H2O? No, no.
dude, I'm really
Was it a bigger hit? Yes, bigger hit. But I don't think they're going to look back on it as fondly as they do H2O. H2O was the anniversary. It is inherently a bigger deal because that was when Jamie Lee Curtis came back. Like that, like holy shit, she was back. Like that was when she was back. And
right.
18 just felt less of a as big a deal because she'd already done it before. That's my argument. Is like 18 wasn't like, oh my God, she hasn't been in the franchise in 40 years. No,
Right.
she did it before.
I think I would agree with that, but I don't know, dude. Like, there could be a renaissance for the Blumhouse films in 20 years. Like, but maybe
I've
you
said it a
never.
million times. If there is, it's going to be Friends. It's going to be Friends, and it's going to. You could say it's because people want to be contrarians or whatever it is, but I do think that will be the movie that gets looked on in this trilogy the most, not overall the most fondly, but it will get the most revisionist history 20 years from now, 100%. Like, people will be like, you know what? That was actually decent. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I tend to agree about that for sure. My thing about ends, I still just wish they would have gone like they still chicken shitted themselves, or they. Why did he not just kill Michael in the cave?
Guys, Christian called me after he saw Ends. He called me and he was like, we had just both gotten out of it. And we were talking about it. He was like, I was so worried because, like, I thought he got out of his showing like 30 minutes before me. And he was like, I thought you weren't going to like it. You were the first person I thought of. I was like, oh, he's not going to like that. And I was like, no, I liked it, blah, blah, blah. And Christian told me that night, opening night on the phone, the same thing he's telling you right now. I really liked it, but God, they could have just really sent it home if they would have just gone for it. Just totally gone for it with Corey. Have him kill Michael and have him go on. You know, like, it's been your stance since day one.
I still think it was the right thing to do. You know?
I think David knew that the fans wouldn't accept that.
Who was it that said, I guess it doesn't matter, but apparently somebody had asked him, was this your plan the whole time? And he said, yeah.
Oh, we're opening a can of worms here because people in the comment section are going to argue about this, but I'll just say this. David had it mapped out, not entirely, but he did have it mapped out that at some point in his outline, his trilogy outline, or however many movies it was going to be, that they were going to focus on the transfer of evil to somebody else. The specifics of that, no. If he says he knew it was going to be Corey and this was going to be a story, he's lying. But he is being honest when he says that he was going to explore the transfer of evil. 100%. That was definitely going to. John Carpenter has said as much. He has said that he knew that. I can't remember when they were making Kills or when it was, but that David had mentioned that to him. So they knew. And even Paul Brad Logan, the guy that wrote he was a co-writer for Ends. He said that David told them during 18 that he had an idea like that.
I really like David. I really do. I hope he does something else soon and sticks with horror. Like, he's got something else in him.
Give me Pineapple Express too. Come on, David. I guess you can't. James Franco got canceled.
Dude, I really feel bad for him about The Exorcist. I've gone back and watched it one time.
It's not bad, man. It's not bad.
It's
not bad.
No, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad. But if you were gonna say, Christian, let's talk about like Exorcist style possession movies in the last 15, 20 years, call me crazy, but I would be like, yeah, they actually did make another Exorcist movie, but there's this movie called The Last Exorcism that's just fucking awesome. You need to watch that, which is a problem because it's The Exorcist. You know,
I'd say the same thing about The Exorcism of Emily Rose. I've always really liked that one. Always really liked that one.
Yeah, it's a good. It is a good one. Oh man.
And The Conjuring, for that matter. Yeah. So basically, what you're saying is, and this was your point from the very beginning. You know, you were like, I actually liked it, okay, but it's The Exorcist. The bar is higher. You know, if you're bringing The Exorcist back, you better have something to say, and you better at least stand out above the pack. And it doesn't. It's wholly unremarkable. Like it is. It's not offensive. It's not bad. You walk away and you're like, it was fine, but fine isn't good enough for The Exorcist.
Right. And now with Flanagan coming in, I think he has an even more difficult task because he's got to make people believe again
He's going to.
and deliver on it in a big, big way.
You know what he should do? He should just name it Exorcist Believer again. Just again, like we're trying to make people believe again. Exorcist Believer.
Has he even started on that yet, or
Script is done. Yep, the script is done, and
how do you find this shit out? I'm not
uh,
questioning you like you're wrong, but it's just like I just feel like you always have a goddamn answer when I ask these
well,
questions.
well, I mean, unfortunately, I'm really plugged in to like certain like industry scoopers and stuff like that, but that's not where I got this from. Flanagan himself, he was giving updates on. He's done a couple interviews. He updates on Instagram every now and then too. Um, but there was a press release not long ago. I don't know if it was Variety. I'm trying to remember who it was, but when they announced the release date for it, I believe the press release said something along the lines of that the script had been completed or was nearing completion, because I believe they're going to start shooting first quarter of next year, like this winter. So yeah, if it's not done, it's almost done. Flanagan's been working on it for a couple months. So actually, no, it's done because Flanagan met with Blumhouse with his outline. That's why he got the gig. He already had an outline. He was like, "This is what I want to do," and then they were like, "Yes." Like, let's do it. And obviously, an outline isn't the end all be all. Then you actually have to write the script page by page.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's pretty much all nailed down because they're going to start rolling cameras in December or January. I can't remember exactly when, because it comes out March of 26. I think
God
March.
damn it. Whole nother goddamn year.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna look Mike Flanagan, but I'm just gonna say this, and I know you know this. Um, if anybody's gonna, yeah, March of 2026. If anybody's gonna be able to bring The Exorcist back, it's Flanagan. You couldn't have hired somebody better. If it doesn't work with Flanagan, I'm just gonna say this, Christian. I think you'll agree. Never touch The Exorcist again.
I
Just
agree.
leave it alone. Leave it alone. I mean, there are two guys working today that I think could make a good Exorcist movie, and it's him and James Wan. And I don't even know if I'd say Wan, honestly, because Wan does like the spooky really well, but I don't know if Wan does the character stuff as well as Flanagan. Flanagan not only does the ghostly, creepy stuff well, but he does character work insanely well. And
That yeah,
yeah,
I mean no disrespect, but I would put Flanagan highly over James Wan. I
yeah,
think Flanagan is just that good because it's one thing to make a really compelling movie, but to make me sit like a fucking jackass on a couch all day because I have to just watch Midnight Mass in a row, that's impressive. And I
I'm
still
still
think
waiting,
Midnight Mass is probably the best limited horror series I've ever seen in my life.
hands down.
Probably the best ever. There may be some stuff that's close. Uh, I I think Mindhunter may be the greatest true crime thing I've ever seen, and it's on the level of Midnight Mass in terms of just probably the best writing, the best stuff I've ever seen. But Midnight Mass is like I watched all his shit. The last thing he did, I actually stopped. I wasn't really digging it.
Oh, The Fall of the House of Usher. I really like that.
I did 4 episodes and I was just like, why am I not in love with this?
It's it's not really horror. Um, it really isn't. It's it's different. It's like a
So
mystery.
yeah, I checked out on that. I'm not saying it's not good, but after 4 episodes, I was like, you know what, I'm done. I ended up liking the one where Raul plays like the cook at like the house. What was that called?
Bly Manor.
Bly Manor. I liked Bly Manor quite a bit, but Midnight Mass just absolutely. And you know, I don't know if Netflix is doing this with Scream Factory or if maybe they had a license for the I don't know, but it's really big news that Hush is coming out in is it December or January? I can't remember, but Hush is getting a 4K from Scream
December.
Factory.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's December.
Yeah, I covered it, but God knows I cover a lot of that shit, so it all just runs. runs together. But that's really cool. So maybe we'll start to see some of his stuff on
I was
more
going to say
video.
don't get your hopes up simply just because Flanagan has talked openly on social
Yeah, I know.
media about.
I know he has, but I'm interested to see the workings of the Hush deal. How'd that
Yeah,
happen?
yeah, I agree because he says if there's any one of his properties that he wants to get a physical release, it's Midnight Mass, and that's what everybody talks about too. They want Midnight Mass, like
I need to
that's
watch
just
that
what
again. Like, I
I
need
was
to actually sit
actually.
down and watch that again.
I was actually thinking about it the other day, and I was like, I mean, it's a dedication because it's 9 episodes and they're all at least like an hour long, so it's a lot to take in, and it's also not just that; it's heavy. It's
Are
heavy
you?
stuff.
It is. But are you a true crime show person? We've talked about it before, but I don't
Yeah,
know if you just kind of like meet me halfway when I talk to you about this stuff. But
no. I've watched a lot of true crime and listened to a lot of true crime podcasts.
I'm gonna start this soon. I got so much shit I got to do tonight, so I probably won't be able to get to it. But they just dropped a new Menendez Bros series on
Yeah.
Netflix of
Yep.
actually them.
Yep. Yep.
It's funny because I watched Monsters in
Hmm.
one night. Like I was in my 80s whatever, like my kind of my non-horror studio room over there, and I did something. I filmed something. And I was letting a video export or process or whatever, and I can't really film while I'm doing that because it kind of just bogs down my computer and my camera will kind of glitch. And I was like, I'll just let this export and I'll sit down and I'll watch this episode while that's exporting, blah blah blah. It was so good to me that I said, fuck it. I'm just gonna watch the whole thing tonight. And I was on graveyard shift, so I didn't have to go to bed or anything. And I loved it. I started talking about it a little bit on like YouTube or whatnot, and all the feedback I got was negative. Everybody that was basically commented was like, no, this was a bullshit show. They made the brothers look like idiots. They made them look mean, blah, blah, blah. You're clearly not a fan, which is a weird thing to say. But like, I felt like, wow, it took me back that like they didn't enjoy the show. They thought the show made the brothers look bad. Um, I don't know where you stand on this, but I did go and watch some of the clips of the brothers actually in court when they're testifying. And I by no means am a professional or an expert in psychology, pathology, whatever. None of that. But I do remember in nursing school when we started, we did a couple semesters on mental health stuff, and one of the things I remember about PTSD is the way there was like the way people react recounting stories. And I remember watching one of the brothers do it when he was talking about, what did your father do to you? And it might have been Lyle. No, I think it was Eric. It's the one that has the more skinny face, kind of the more skeletal face, not the one with the fake hair. But as he was
Yeah.
reacting and finally getting it out, what his dad did to him, it was exactly what I remember reading in a textbook. My gut says that the kids were abused. My gut tells me that. I don't know. Of course, there's only two people that know the truth walking this earth. There's only two people, and that's those two. But my gut tells me that they probably were abused. That doesn't mean killing is justified, of course, but it's a hot topic, so I just thought I'd bring that up. And I
Yeah.
always like to give my opinion. I don't want to shy away from what I actually think on this kind of stuff. So, anyway,
Yeah, bro. You're not coming at this as a fan of Lyle and Eric, bro. What's wrong with you? You're not a fan.
well, apparently a lot of people have researched these guys and looked into them and watched a lot of court stuff and listened to interviews with them where they talk about themselves, and
Yeah, but
apparently
let's
they made
call
one
us.
of the brothers. Go ahead.
Let's call a spade though. Standing any kind of murderer is weird behavior. It just is. It's weird behavior. Um, you know, it's no matter if you think that anybody was justified or not justified. You know, we as a society should never um, not normalize it, but glorify it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
um, I agree with you. I do think that there was abuse there. Here's my issue. You waited until you guys were adults, and then after you guys gunned them down, you lived lavishly for a short period of time, like nothing had you soaked up the riches of your family, and
Right.
I don't know. It seemed to me like they wanted the money. They wanted their parents gone, and it was easier for them to get to where they got to, killing them because of the abuse that they had incurred throughout their life. Yes, I think both can be true. That I don't know if that was a driving force, though. I don't think it was the main driving force. I think the main driving force was the money and getting them out of the picture. And I think that it was easier to get from A to B because they were terrible parents to them. So they were
Yeah.
like, could we kill them? Well, yeah, they fucking suck. They did this to us. Yeah, okay, yeah, and they justified it in their own minds that way. Um, it's a touchy subject, and this isn't like a Dahmer or something where it's just so obviously like terrible human being. But I still think at the end of the day, and we were texting about this, and you agree too, even though you're sympathetic to their plight to an extent, but you're like, yeah, you still don't do what they did, like you don't do that. And if that was the case, if everything they claimed was true, maybe they should have gotten, I don't know, manslaughter, second degree murder, maybe not a life sentence. Maybe you go away for 15 years. If you could prove everything they said was true, because you still did kill them. So you do have to pay for that.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's no different than the only time you're justified in killing someone is if your life is in immediate danger. That is the only time that a court of law will go, okay. And even then, sometimes a prosecutor or a defense attorney, they'll be like, was your life really in danger? So, yeah, I mean, their lives were not in immediate danger. So they absolutely should have spent some time behind bars. But the rest of their lives, I don't know. That's for some of y'all to decide. I don't. Luckily, it's not my life. I didn't kill my parents. So, I don't know.
I get fascinated by this stuff, man. I really do.
I do too. I was actually kind of bummed that, season 2 of Monster, I guess now Monsters, was going to be Lyle and Eric, because I really wanted to see them dive into, I don't know, maybe something a little more obscure. Not some of the such high profile cases. Everybody knows.
Well, was there was a season before? I thought Monsters was just the name of the Lyle and Eric story.
No, a Monster, Jeffrey Dahmer. Same. The Jeffrey Dahmer with Evan Peters. Yeah.
Okay. I understand.
This was technically season 2, but they called it Monsters instead of Monster because it was 2 people.
Here's the last thing I want to mention. I asked Sydney this question, and of course, there's no right answer, but we've heard of crimes of passion. Like either the husband, kills the wife or vice versa in the heat of the moment sort of things. The thing that truly bothers me is the Chris Watts story.
Oh.
Because this is what kills me. Okay. He had a broad he was dealing with behind the scenes. The wife was suspect of it. When she comes home, he chokes her out and kills her. The kids are in the house. This is what I don't try to understand serial killers. You can't. Obviously, they got screws loose. And this guy isn't a serial killer. But even if he had just killed the wife, you could say total crime of passion. They were fighting. Guy clearly had issues, and he flew off the handle. But what really keeps me up at night is how the guy takes out the wife, throws her in the bed of the truck or whatever, and then drives the kids alive to that oil rig destination where he worked.
No,
and then
like she wasn't even in the bed. She was across the back seat on the floor. She was beneath their daughter's feet.
Sorry, I forgot.
No, you're fine. I'm just saying, an even added layer of disgusting. Yeah,
but it was like a 30-40 minute ride to that oil rig he went to.
almost an hour. I think it was about an hour. Yeah.
Nick, this is a guy that was in complete control.
Yep.
He drove 40 minutes, whatever. That's what truly haunts me at night. I've
He knew what
never heard of something
he'd
like that.
thought about it. He'd thought about it. He had made up his mind. It wasn't, he had made up his mind that he was going to leave his entire past life behind for a new life. And his idea of doing that is, rather than getting a divorce, kill everyone. And you're absolutely right that there's nothing more evil than those that can do those things and be in total, complete control. Complete control. It's like nothing. It's as easy as breathing to them. And that story, I mean, I won't even lie to you. The first time I watched a documentary on that story, I legit got like emotional. I mean, it's absolutely horrible. I
It
mean,
rocked the world, man. It's
he even recounted from prison, saying that on the drive to the the oil field, with their mom, Shanann Watts, just laid across the floor of the back seat, and the two little girls literally sitting in the seats, so their dead mom is at their feet. He recalled one of the daughters asking if mommy was going to be okay, when she was going to wake up, and stuff like that. And it's so fucked up. And then one of the little girl, the smallest one, fought back. She fought back. She bit him. She fought back while he was smothering her. And before he did, she had seen him kill the other girl. She said that she didn't want to die. She asked him to not kill her. I mean, I'm not a proponent of the death penalty, simply just because I don't think that we are judge, jury, and executioner. And I think it's also an easy way out for these people. They get to commit these crimes and then not have to rot away in prison the rest of their lives. They just get an easy out. Having said that, though, Chris Watts shouldn't have gotten the death penalty. He should have been strung up and allowed to be beaten to death by every surviving family member in the most heinous way possible. He should have been tortured.
I agree.
I mean, an absolutely despicable human being, and easily one of the worst true crime stories I've
ever heard.
Ever heard.
Dude didn't even have like a parking ticket on his record.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me so angry. So angry. I mean, just such a fucking coward. Such a coward. I mean, it fires me up. I mean, I don't know what's after this life, man. I have my beliefs, but nobody can know until we know. And I'll just say that if there is something, I hope that those little girls and their mom and her son that she was pregnant with, mind you.
Oh, that's right. She was pregnant with another kid. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So
I
4 people were killed.
Yeah. Yeah. And he got charged with 4 because the baby, had a heartbeat and everything. It was damn near viability, I think. Like, yeah,
crazy.
Yeah. I hope that if there is something that they're, I don't know, that they're at peace, because that is just, I mean, I hope somebody kills him in prison. I mean, I hate to say that, YouTube, you're not listening anymore anyway, so you're not going to flag this. And if you do, fuck you. Like, I hope he gets shanked. I mean, I really hope he does. And not, you know what? No, I hope he gets shanked every day for the rest of his life. Just enough to where it's like really painful. He bleeds a lot, but he doesn't die. Like, yeah. What a fucking coward, man. Fucking coward. I'd piss on his grave. I don't know, dude. It fires me up. It fires me. As a dad, I don't know how you could look your child in the eye and kill them. Like,
I agree, dude. It's just,
how could you live with yourself? And this motherfucker said while he was in prison, I can't sleep at night. I hear their voices. You deserve at least that, motherfucker. You killed them. Like, nah. You as a parent, you're supposed to not even be able to fathom somebody else hurting your kid. Like, it's supposed to make you nauseous, like physically ill. And it does for me. Now try to internalize you doing that to them. I mean, just, yeah. Nah, fuck that guy.
I hear you, dude. Now that we've got everybody nice and somber.
We're gonna cut it. I want to let you guys know we are gonna be doing a live show the week before Halloween or the week of Halloween. We haven't really nailed it down yet, but we're gonna figure that out. We will be doing a live.
I could tell people right now. Let me look at the calendar. We
Okay.
talked about it. I just got to look at the.
And that'll be like we normally do, guys. We'll do Q&A. We'll recap some of the stuff we've talked about in the recent episodes, maybe follow up with some stuff.
It'll be on the 27th, Sunday.
Okay. So the 27th, probably it's Sunday. I'll have my kid. We'll probably go at 10 Eastern. So 9 Christians time. We'll go live. And we're also going to mix it up a little bit. I thought it'd be cool, keeping in theme with Halloween and candy and whatnot. We're also going to play Bean Boozled a little bit and eat some disgusting ass fucking jelly beans. So,
I'm
hopefully, yeah, so am I. Yeah. I mean, I say that now, but some of them are bad, dude. And I haven't even had all of them. Some of them are bad.
There's one that tastes like fresh cut grass, like mowed lawn or whatever it's called, and it is insane how it tastes exactly what I think that would taste like.
Yeah. Oh, have you had every single flavor or probably not?
A lot of them, because I remember Sydney used to buy them a ton. I don't know why, but she did. We used to get them all the time, and yeah, the good ones are great.
Sydney just munching on the fucking.
And I would always get the shit ones whenever we played.
Yeah.
Always get the shit ones.
Well, we're going to do that live with you guys. If you guys want to do it with us, get yourself a box of Bean Boozle. You can get them. I see them at Party City at the checkout. They got them. So get one, play along with us. It's going to be disgusting and probably quite funny. So,
Yeah, I'm excited. That'll be fun. I'm excited about that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, we went almost 2.5 hours. And what you guys didn't know, a little inside baseball, right when we were about to start recording, my kid got scared because of ghosts or whatever. I don't know. And he came in here and I had to talk him off the ledge for 15 minutes and get him back to bed. So we got started even later than we should have. Sound off below, man. Everything we talked about, guys. Terrifier 3, horror icons, true crime, Halloween H20, whatever it was that we touched on that you want to talk about. Friday the 13th. Comment down below. We want to hear from you guys. Thank you all for watching. Leave a like. Helps in the algorithm. And we'll catch you in a live show in 2 weeks. So if you got nothing, I got nothing, and we're going to end it.
Good night, everybody.